telling the U.S. that if something is not is not done to quarantine these 12 states, we could get it better from this map. All of this red circle, this portion circled in red, are these 12 states that adopted Sharia and now executing jihad. And we're saying to them that if nothing happens, you can see all of what they've already done in Nigeria to cripple everybody else. Since they took charge of all the armed services, all the agencies of the armed services of Nigeria are headed by Fulani elements, whether you're talking about the army or the police or the air force or the DSS, all of them, including institutions like immigration and customs. Every institution that has to carry gun around is now in the hands of these same people whose kinsmen are the ones invading everybody. And what you hear the president say is to disarm all of those who may have one dang gun or the other to even, So we're in a situation where if nothing happens to stop what is going on, they're going to take down the rest of Nigeria. And when they've dug in, they will have in their control the entire treasury of Nigeria they already have, the entire armory of Nigeria they already have. And by the time there's no resistance that can be expected from all of this. These are basically ungoverned spaces as at this time. Libya already went bad. Sudan is in a situation. And you saw the two governors from Niger that came to campaign with Buhari in the last elections, meaning that between them there are no borders. And while the rest of us are struggling with what will happen with Nigeria, these guys are more focused on their caliphate, Islamic caliphate. The same thing they went to try to do in the Middle East with Syria and Iraq is what is being replicated here. And we are telling the United States, if we don't move quickly, we have something that will be in excess of 250 million people that will be dislodged. And this caliphate is going to have in his hands the proceeds of all the 3 million barrels of crude oil that had to go from Nigeria every day as money to execute their global campaigns. And we know who the attackers will be.
Hello and welcome. A drone attack in a hospital in Sudan has killed over 64 people during the celebration of Eid. According to the World Health Organization, among those killed were children, nurses, and doctors. The war in Sudan started on April 15, 2023, between the Sudanese Armed Forces and the paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Force. It is estimated that over 150,000 people have been killed. In Nigeria, the US has deployed multiple MQ-9 drones alongside 200 troops to provide training and intelligence to Nigeria's military in its fight against bandits. The US troops based in Bauchi are not integrated into the Nigerian military units on the forefront. It is 6:30 p.m. in Lagos, Nigeria, 7:30 p.m. in Khartoum, Sudan, and 6:30 p.m. in Ghana. It is 1:30 p.m. in New York City. Wherever in the world you are joining us, welcome to another episode of 90 Minutes Africa. My name is Rudolf Okonkwo. My co-host, Chido Onoma, is on assignment. Nigeria is heading towards 2027 elections. Campaigns are warming up. Politicians are rehearsing their promises. But beneath all that noise lies a deeper, more uncomfortable question. Is Nigeria even settled enough to be holding elections? Our guest today, Tony Nnadi, says the problem is not who rules Nigeria, but whether Nigeria, as currently constituted, is even legitimately agreed upon. He is the co-convener of Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, a movement pushing for a fundamental renegotiation of Nigerian Union. So tonight we ask, is Nigeria negotiable? Can it be restructured? Or are we simply recycling leadership inside a broken system? Tony Nnadi, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yours. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. We've been planning this for a long time, and finally it's happening. So welcome to the show. And the way we start the show is that we start with the stories in the news. Today, everywhere in the world, people are talking about the situation in Iran, the crisis there, the war between Iran and the United States, also Israel, which has impact on Africa, Nigeria in particular. So what do you see when you look at the situation in Iran?
Well, I wish it was just another remote incident in a far location. But the fact that if we were to reverse the question to read, why is the US in Iran today? So that you can relate to us on the global village that the world has become. Iran has been breeding export grade terror. Iran has been breeding terror for export to the rest of the world. And there we saw Hezbollah, there we saw Hamas, there we saw Al-Shabaab and all the other. There we saw ISIS in Nigeria, there we saw ISWAP it became, and all that. And so the US, for its own national security objectives, because they are the prime target of that export, that terror that will be exported from Iran. And that's exactly what Nigeria is guilty of. That's why Nigeria was designated a country of particular concern alongside Iran. You recall that it was in 2020 that designation happened, right after our 7-month exchange is in Washington D.C. And so it is that the head of the snake is Iran, but there are young elements of that snake breeding. We have 8 terror organizations in Nigeria, all connected to Iran in one form or the other. And so, right next after Iran, Nigeria is on the queue, breeding terror for global export. That's where we are.
So, do you think that the United States should be playing the role of going across the world and dealing with countries that they don't agree with in any way they wanted to deal with them? Is that what you are suggesting? If you said that Nigeria is going to be next,
it's so easy to simplify it like that, and but when we look at it closer, who else suffered the 911 grade of attack? Who else, is being called out every day that say, "Oh, death to America," and all of that. And so it's a matter of being more exposed than others, and taking responsibility for your own safety. If you know before 911 and after 911, you could see all of what has happened not only on their soil but everywhere. So there is a more fundamental question of why should anybody take it upon himself like Iran has done to be breeding terror that will be present everywhere else in the world. And when you listen to their rhetoric, you see them in the US, you see them in the UK, you see them all over Europe, talking about how they are going to take over the entire place. And you've seen it happening. You've seen it happening in the city where you are. You've seen what they've turned the UK into, where they are now sharing. You see what they're trying to do in Houston and all of that. So there's a clear and present danger because they are not coming to cohabit with you. They are saying they have to take it over for themselves, and they're going to kill whoever doesn't agree with them. Is that the kind of thing you say, okay, let me leave it where it is for now until it comes to my space? No. The rational thing to do is to go to try to stop it where it is. Otherwise, they are not content with being in charge in their own space. No, they are targeting the whole global community for control. They want to forcefully convert everybody to their own faith, whatever it means to them. But that's the only way to be alive. If you don't agree with them, they kill you. And they are constantly, all the money they realize from the sale of crude oil and other kinds of things they are able to export goes into financing of terror. And when you look around, you will see that it's a problem that needs to be addressed. So if it falls on the shoulders of the U.S. to lead in that, because they will be the prime target, they will suffer more than others when terror begins to manifest in the form it can manifest, and we have seen quite a bit of it. You wouldn't say that they're just going around looking for who to be. Why are they not in other countries where there are other problems? No, they're just. It is the ones that affect them that they have to go deal with. That's my reading of it.
Yeah, but Tony, the people who understand Islam in northern Nigeria will tell you that most of the people who are supported by Iran, they are not the people who are actually historically have caused the problems in Nigeria. They are people who are supported by the Shia. I want to be accurate that what I'm saying, by Saudi Arabia. So if you even the 9/11 you mentioned, there were people from Saudi Arabia, not people from Iran, that caused that. So how do you rationalize this?
Well, you see how.
I can't hear you, Tony.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So how do you square this with what you just said? Because in Saudi Arabia, historically, the people who are supporting most of the groups that are operating in Nigeria, not Iran, and even the 9/11 attack, they were Saudis, not people from Iran.
Well, the problem, the extra problem there is that there's Israel that is next door, and there is a Hamas that is operating next door from Gaza. There's another Hezbollah next door, from Lebanon. And you see the Houthis, you see, how am I supposed to make a distinction? How am I to know the difference between the Shia and the Shiite and all kinds of, it comes to where, as long as Sharia is in the picture, it becomes a problem. Whether it's coming from Saudi or coming from, I don't know. The thing is that Iran has made itself notorious for all of what. You remember once upon a time, 13 container loads of missiles suddenly surfaced in Apapa port. 13 container loads of missiles. Eventually, it was traced to be coming from Iran. For what purpose? For what use? And it's the problem is that there is something that is inherently evil that place no value whatsoever in human. In fact, they owe it a duty of faith to kill everybody else who doesn't agree with them as infidels. And so the situation has become urgent for. It could well be first for Israel, but if every time they threaten, they call the names of the countries that look at what has become of Nigeria. Remove that Islamic extremism and the Sharia that comes with it, and see whether Nigeria wouldn't have made much more progress than we have made so far. They have become, you can see, they impose Sharia. Did they explain to me whether it was Saudi people or Iranian people that influenced them into imposing Sharia that set Nigeria back by 500 years? Those are the kind of things, and it's just a matter of we can do without their Sharia. If we can't have a union of sanctity of life and a union of equality of men, which they forbid. On one hand, it is Sharia that requires them to kill me as infidel. On the other, they are also into feudalism, in which it is forbidden that I should be of equal ranking with them. All those things are mixed up, and so it becomes a setback. It becomes something of a roadblock to progress. That's how Nigeria got to where it is now. If you listen closely to the Washington hearings at the Congress concerning Nigeria, you will see how they all connected in terms of
we'll get to that.
What could be responsible for what.
Tony, we get to all that. We get to Nigerian issues. So let me play this video for you and get your take at the end. So last week, we saw this spectacle that happened in the United Kingdom. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was given a state visit. What is your take on that? What do you think about the whole thing, what he came back with, the promises and the deals they told us they signed? What is your take? Can you hear me, Tony?
Okay. It's tragic that a man who Nigeria is already a disputed union, whether anybody understands that or not. Yeah, I can hear you.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. I think there's a delay on your end. Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Something is disconnecting somewhere.
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, Tony, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
It's not connected.
Okay. All right. Tony cannot hear. We will take a break. When we come back, we will continue the conversation with Tony Nnadi, who is the co-convener of NINAS. This is a group that is at this point deciding that they decided that the election is not what we need. We need to restructure the country fundamentally before we go to elections. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Following President Muhammadu Buhari's departure on Sunday for the 76th UN General Assembly in New York, self-determination groups threatened that they would hold their biggest march yet on September 24th, the day the president will address the United Nations General Assembly. The agitators listed 6 demands ahead of their protests. They include the abolition of the 1999 Constitution, the suspension of further elections, particularly the 2023 elections, conduct of a referendum, an end to Fulani genocide, as well as an end to oligarchy, and the declaration of Negtiable as a terrorist organization. Well, in a statement, the chairman of the Yoruba group, Professor Banji Akintoye, was quoted as saying, rather than listen to the yearnings and aspirations of our people, the Buhari-led government has consistently waged war against people who attempt to checkmate the menace of Negtiable in the name of grazing cows. He said the groups would face Buhari on the 24th to tell him to his face that the Negtiable are the #1 enemy of the people of the South and Middle Belt of Nigeria, and they are the authentic terrorists. Dr. Abati, I guess the United Nations is the biggest platform for these agitators to express their wish.
Well, first, what the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance on Self-Determination is trying to do, basically, by going to be a part of the general debate, that's the United Nations General Assembly, it's otherwise also called the general debate, is to draw attention to the situation in Nigeria in terms of their grievances. And if you look at those things that you've listed, they want Negtiable classified as a terrorist organization. They want an end to oligarchy. They want, the Nigerian constitution to be abolished. They want the right to self-determination. Now, all of these groups, from the South, from the Middle Belt, and other parts of Nigeria, majorly minority ethnic nationalities, and also other groups, they're insisting on their right to self-determination. And, the choice of the United Nations, led by Professor Banji Akintoye, is understandable. The UN Charter in Article 1 and also Article 55 thereof, talks about the right to self-determination as one of those important, post-war, rights of communities, of peoples. And it simply means that a people have the right to determine their own future. Now, before this 1 million march, they call it, the NINAS, that's the acronym, as decided upon, they had also appealed first the Yoruba group, the Yoruba Nation Agitators, joined the UNPO, that's the body for underrepresented peoples of the world. Two, the entire group, NINAS, appealed to global financial institutions not to lend money to Nigeria again because they say that Nigeria is a disputed project. But I think what is important in this regard is that, look, along the spectrum of positions, of choices, options, before the various ethnic nationalities involved in that group that is led by Professor Akintoye, what is important is that the Nigerian government should provide an opportunity to talk to them.
Exactly what?
The UN protests, we give them visibility. They are not the only ones who go there. Anybody can go and be part of the general debate and push their case. But at the end of the day, Nigeria will be responsible for its own people's interests. And that's why we keep saying the opportunity should be provided in Nigeria for dialogue, for conversation among the various ethnic nationalities.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for staying. Tony is back. Tony, can you hear me? Tony, can you hear me? Tony, can you hear me? All right, Tony, you still cannot hear me. I'm talking to you.
Your audio is gone again.
No, my audio is good. It's your end. We can hear you, Tony. We can hear you, but you can't hear us. All right, we have to find a solution to this. Otherwise, today's show will be. Tony, let me just play a little bit of your videos, and while at the other end, I'll try to see if we can sort it out.
Farmers and herdsmen clashing, that it is invasion by an alien, militia, the Fulani militia. First they operated as Boko Haram, now they call themselves Fulani headsmen, and they are now called bandits, but doing exactly the same business. And you saw the vice president coming in to say, oh no, that all of these things have been exaggerated. It was that response of his that tied him to what we came to tell those who could help, those who have been wondering what's going on in the place. So I would say that his visit is directly tied to what we have been doing the last 2 weeks at the Capitol Hill.
Now, the people in Congress that you've been meeting, how did they respond to your presentation, the story that you're telling them, and other people who also were part of that?
Well, it was clear like daylight that because they had to probe there's some of the things that happened in the place. The rules under which these hearings are taking place, they're not an open hearing, so there's a limit to what I can share at this time. But I can assure the viewers that those who have responsibility and who have authority to act on behalf of the United States took their time to listen to all the sides. And part of what we can share at this stage is that they got through the many layers of falsehoods that have been used to create narratives upon which policy had been based, because the foreigners who have, for instance, the United States that has to decide what it does here or there, will have to act on what it knows. So what has happened is that there has been a deliberate crafting of false narratives to deceive, and what we went to do basically was to remove those thick veils of falsehood, those narratives that have been used to cover the crime being committed, the genocide being driven by these same people. And incidentally,
you demanding or asking the United States to do?
We remember we came in January. We were telling them that yes, we're in trouble, but there's a bigger trouble that we needed the U.S. to see and to act before it becomes something that can no longer be controlled in the manner we are asking. What we're asking is that the U.S. appoints a special envoy that will go and sit down to see, the truth from this this official falsehoods that have been, piled up all over the place, which the poor vice president had come to try to re-establish. The truth has been excavated. Things are going to happen based on that truth. Those who are still hoping to drag everybody back to falsehood are just going to be waiting in vain. And in asking the United States to move now and cordon what is developing, we have so that we can see how it connects with the United States. Here is the map of West Africa. The red encirclement is the area covering all from Chad through Niger to northern Mali and all the adjoining territories, and the whole of Nigeria, including Cameroon to the east. This is a territory that is in immediate danger of being taken down by the ISIS that had been dislodged in the Middle East. What happened was that ISIS just relocated, and in relocating to West Africa, the local franchise that it began with was Boko Haram. You remember that at the peak of Boko Haram's glory, they had exchanged flags and all kinds of pledging allegiances to ISIS. So it is actually ISIS that had come to dig in this sub-region, and
All right, welcome back. We are trying to have a conversation with Tony Nnadi, who is the co-convener of NINAS. Let's see if the connection is good. Tony, can you hear me?
Sure, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank God. All right, so we stopped by, what did we stopped at the point where you were talking about Iran and everything. But let's go to, okay, so we talked about what happened in the UK, where President Tinubu went there. You saw the clip, yeah. Okay, so I wanted to know, what do you make of that? Why he went there, what he brought back, especially that he left the day after they killed some Nigerians in Maiduguri and left with everybody. National Security Advisor. What do you make of that?
Yeah. That's what we've been living with: a completely detached government that is entirely on his own flight, not bothered about what is going on with the people, and you were going to go to a UK that is like the UK is sinking. Their calculations in getting out of European Union was basically to dump themselves on Nigeria, their former colony. In the period they had helped push Buhari to take charge of Nigeria in the Sharia that was Nigeria. They were going to recolonize Nigeria to refloat their own economy, because they will now have us like a captive market for this 230 million that could be 250 million if you count the neighboring West African populations that depend on what happens in Nigeria. Britain, was coming to reinsert their teeth into our skin to suck. And so there was some kind of delay in that plan when Buhari had to leave, and then his right-hand man, Tinubu, comes in and just continues from where they stop. And so Britain is just looking for how to continue in that plan. And it's like going to the coven. Bola Tinubu, Nigeria is already disputed. The Tinubu that did not win any election that marauded his way to, government house. Of course, we took a position. We say this is an interregnum. Yes, he's in government house, but he doesn't have the mandate to govern, and he's doing exactly whatever he came to do, and that's what has become the lot of Nigeria and Nigerians. Is going to the UK in search of progress for Nigeria. The very UK, the listeners, I challenge you, right on your device or wherever you can get access YouTube from, click and search out the title, Nigeria, the Pyramid of Evil. I repeat, Nigeria, the Pyramid of Evil, so that you can see what we said about the role of Britain for what has become of Nigeria, for what has always been the situation of Nigeria. From 1914, even before then, but let's even take it from 1914. Britain is responsible for the calamities and the woes of Nigeria. Britain is the last place anybody will want to go. And you had Charles their king talking about Nigeria taking its rightful place in the Commonwealth of Nations. Commonwealth of Nations is a gathering of the association of British slave countries, and no country in its right mind will be in Commonwealth for any reason. Who is proud of coming to be associated with being a slave to the other? But that's what Charles was inviting his guests to take Nigeria back to. And then they said they're taking loan. Put a map of Nigeria on the table and see where those projects are. You use your constitution to lock down the port facilities. Is the constitution of Nigeria and its exclusive list. That's the reason everything is the way that they do it. You lock down your security arrangement. It's not working. You lock down your infrastructure arrangement. It's not working. You lock down everything that is possible, 68 items, and borrowing money. And then you bring that money, look at where the projects will be cited. Look at the money to be borrowed will be used to buy things from Britain that they couldn't have found anywhere to sell at this time. So it's bad all through. But I blame the Nigerians who are not raising the fundamental question of the union itself. The constitution we have right now is one in which we're held in this union against our will. And then somebody jumps to Abuja, says he's president, and goes, Tinubu have been signing off our sovereignty everywhere. And I don't think, even if it was elected properly, I don't think the mandate of the president includes signing off the sovereignty of the people. Look at what has happened with the US in how they had to come here. Are we still in? Is our sovereignty still with us? Is our sovereignty still with us? And the peoples of that territory, the ones they call Nigerians, as if there's some spell holding them from asking the questions they should be asking concerning these matters. Our union is disputed, and somebody is now frittering whatever is left of our sovereignty in these matters. That outing in the UK is a demonstration of how low we have sunk in all things. And if anybody is rejoicing that he went to bring anything, he went to bring liability to us, very serious liability, and it will be challenged. I'm happy you played the clip where we raised a global alert about the disputes. Nigeria is now a disputed project. Britain, that is lending money to Bola Tinubu, cannot pretend they do not know. So whatever they are doing will be overtaken by the collapse of that constitution. And if anybody is stupid enough to think that the constitution that we didn't make, we took our sovereignty and we are doing everything to recover that sovereignty, they ignore it, talking about the election and whose turn it is to come and manage the criminal enterprise that Nigeria has become under that constitution. Everything will go down. They are building on a foundation that does not exist. They are building on a foundation that is bound to collapse. Everything they put on it will go down with it. Let Britain lend more money to Tinubu. But they want to go and recover it from him wherever they find him in the time of recovery.
Okay, we'll get in depth analysis of the constitution and what's going on and what you want, what your group, what you are demanding. But let me get your view on one more thing. The Americans came to Nigeria. In the news, we heard that they have about 200 troops in Bauchi, and they also have a series of drones helping them, helping Nigeria to gather intelligence.
Right.
The Nigerians are divided. There are people who are saying that we don't want Americans in our country. There are people who are saying they should be there and they should help us fight the insecurity going on. Where do you stand? Did you want the Americans to come into Nigeria and play this role?
When in 2019 we went to Washington, it was because our compatriots in the Nigerian Union had turned on us with their Sharia and their terror. Buhari, their champion, Fulani champion. There's a Fulani conquest agenda ongoing. People may want to pretend, but those who live in the disaster it has become for them, the Fulani conquest agenda that brought Uthman Danfodio, the Fulani conquest agenda that raised Ahmadu Bello as the new champion, also produced the Buhari that threw our borders open, inviting Fulani from all over the sub-region and the wider Sahel to come so that together they will kill off the owners of this place. They are not making any pretenses about wanting to take the entire Nigeria. Ethnic cleansing, that's what's going on. And because they had managed to impose a constitution that makes it impossible for anybody to challenge them, because they have almost a monopoly control of all the guns in the land by the instrumentality of the exclusive list on that constitution. The economic assets that are supposed to be yours and mine, again, confiscated by virtue of that constitution. Ido is crying today and the Niger Delta about their resource. It is that constitution that took the resource. There's nothing that is going to bring back their resource to them except that constitution goes down. And so, in the midst of all of those things they managed to they impose from the war of genocide that they levied in 1967, that constitution that makes them the owners of our sovereignty and everything was the victory charter they imposed from that war. Go back again to the role of Britain in how it became war and how it was ended and how it became constitution when Murtala Mohammed came in 1975. And so the Fulani imposed that constitution to tie the hands of everybody else to the back. And they then begin this, ethnic cleansing and land grabbing that goes with it. You can see they've swept over the upper north. They've been sweeping across the middle belt. They are now in the south. Look at what's going on in Kwara that has become Oyo now. How many days ago did they go into the Cocoa Institute in Ibadan? That's how close they are to the Atlantic waterfront. You look through Kogi, beyond the Benue, the flank where they were coming from. Just drive back and see that we are under invasion. And Buhari, what we went to tell Washington in 2019 was that these people, in collaboration and joint venture with ISIS, the terror networks of the Middle East, are relocating to the West African sub-region, and that Buhari was their chief host, and that is a Fulani conquest agenda that is reinforcing itself in that joint venture. Fulani will take the entire land, killing off the indigenous people, and then the terror networks will have a sovereign space to operate like they wanted to establish in Syria and Iraq before they were challenged by the US and their allies. So they've just moved down to our space. They want to collapse Nigeria, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso into one big caliphate. That was what we went to tell the US at the time. And that if it is ISIS that is incubating ISWAP through Boko Haram in Nigeria, and the sovereign assets of Nigeria are now at the risk of being put in the hands of these terror networks masquerading as government, because that's Buhari was the life grand patron of Miyetti Allah. Buhari was the spokesman of Boko Haram. You remember when they put Jonathan under such pressure and all of that. So he was their champion, Fulani champion, and he's extreme Islamic champion to the extent of Boko Haram and Fulani headsmen that was the enterprise of the Miyetti Allah that Buhari was their life grand patron. What are we saying? That we went to tell the US that the terror they were, you remember it was in January 2019,
President Trump had just declared victory over the ISIS and all of who they were fighting in Syria at the time. And we came a week or so after to say, no. The people you are declaring victory over are they are relocated to our space. And that if the US does not come along very quickly, that it might become something several times bigger in size, bigger in threat to the US, and it became something of national security concern that they needed to interrogate further. It took 7 months from that January all the way to the end of July. The US subjected what we brought to them into to serious examination, to serious interrogation. The committees in the House in charge of the matter, the same committee chaired by Chris Smith, the same committee chaired by Ted Cruz. We went back and forth. We had to make a proposition to them for what needed to be done. That was where we pointed the constitution that the Fulani imposed on the rest of Nigeria to tie our hands to the back, to advance their conquest mission, to take over the entire place. And if they're taking it and they are doing it in joint venture with the terror networks, this place will be far worse than whatever anybody has seen in the Middle East. And the matter was taken all the way to the UN Security Council. Remember in 2019 when, after we left Washington, the US got, they used their reach in the UN system to get that rapporteur mission of Agnes Callamard. Listeners can Google right now, Agnes Callamard. Find out why the UN was the one that came to say in September of 2019 that the constitution of Nigeria that oppressed like pressure cooker for injustice. It's reason Nigeria will snap except something is done very quickly. It's reason Nigeria is bleeding on all sides. And that the global community will be under serious threat should Nigeria snap in the manner it could snap, because the terror networks are already converged here. And so you have 200-300 million people, because if Nigeria snaps, you can imagine that the entire West Africa will be down with it almost in a matter of hours or days at the most. And so these terror networks will have this number of close to 300 million people that are dislocated. The rest of the world will pay in blood. That was what was the outcome of that UN, rapporteur mission at the behest of the United States. So I'm just informing us that it was the interrogation of that entire situation that led to the CPC designation of Nigeria. It came directly from that. So those who are pretending now they don't know how America got here, it is in their national security, interest. It's something that was breeding for them. The same way Iran was breeding and has been breeding terror. Nigeria began to breed the terror that will come just on behalf of Iran, that will come back for the US. And so they had the discipline to listen. And then they said to us, what do you say can be done? We then pointed at the constitution that empowered the Fulani to be doing what they're doing in Nigeria. Did you notice in that hearing that happened on Capitol Hill in February of 2026, did you notice that they talked about what kind of constitution will allow the Fulani to be roaming about with guns, AK-47 in Nigeria? Did you notice that even in the event that will happen on Wednesday in Washington concerning Nigeria, do you notice that constitution has become the centerpiece? The intervention of the US, what the US came to do here is to take out the terror networks that are already operating here. And they can't get to the root of that problem without taking down the constitution of Nigeria. Let those who need to hear it now. The US mission in Nigeria, this military mission, at the back end of it is that constitution that put the guns in the hands of the Fulani. And so let nobody think it's Tony Nnadi that is crying about constitution. Go and find out what they will do on Wednesday in Washington and see whether that constitution is not at the center of their mission. That constitution is going down, and those who imposed it, who are refusing to listen, who are dragging us to election at the time we should be discussing what to do with you. We don't have no union. You put my signature on a document I didn't make. You took my sovereignty and all my economic assets and monopoly over gun. And look at what has become of all of us. Nigerians are running in every direction, seeking for wherever they can be accommodated. And then this fellow goes to sign with the British to deport whoever they don't want in their place. Can you see the kind of mess we have gotten into? It is that constitution that is responsible for every single thing anybody is crying about in Nigeria. And the people who are not listening to what we are saying, pretending that we have a Nigeria that is settled, pretending that we have a Nigeria that is a democracy, pretending that the election that will bring a better candidate is what we are looking for. I'm sorry for all of them, because it is by virtue of elections that this renewal of the life of that constitution have been ongoing 7 electoral cycles. Let us accept that we have a problem. Let us stop the pretense and go to solve that problem. People are dying in the numbers we see. You talked about the Meduguri that happened before they traveled to go to look for loan in UK, or to go to drink wine with Charles and the wife. You see the kind of nonsense. People are dying. They have impoverished with the economic policies they've had to roll out, because it's not the Nigeria they are running is not our Nigeria. Our Nigeria died in 1966. Let us dress back and rework it. Let's go to transition. The people who are heading to election, we are going to treat them. We are going to treat those who are going to election under this constitution as we would treat Fulani herdsmen with AK-47. Anybody who is prepared to swear to defend and uphold this constitution at this time, because if you win the election, you are going to have to defend. You are going to swear to and govern by that constitution. And so, anybody who is still doing business with this constitution after 27 years from 1999 is the enemy number one. There's no punishment too harsh for anybody. That means all the political parties in Nigeria, because they're the ones dragging the people into that mess. Why can't we accept that this constitution cannot be basis of union? Is the blood flow not enough already?
Okay, Tony, when you were speaking, I was just thinking about, you talked about the constitution, and that the goal or ultimate goal of the United States is to make sure that the constitution is changed. The issue about Sharia in the constitution has come up, and some people in the northern part of the country are saying that Sharia will never leave the constitution. They insist that they must have their Sharia in the constitution. How is that going to happen, that US or any group, or your group or any group, will take out the Sharia out of the constitution?
It is because they do not understand the meaning of constitution, that they are running their mouth in their illiterate heads. Constitution, if you want to understand the meaning, so you can understand the foolishness of their position. Constitution, we go to that preamble. We, the peoples of Federal Republic of Nigeria, having firmly and solemnly resolved to live in unity forever. Is that not how it began? Then he goes on to say, do hereby make and give unto ourselves the following constitution. That is to say, that constitution is reason we're in a union. No other reason. That constitution is the license the Fulani has to come to Anambra and Port Harcourt and Ibadan and Ondo to kill people. And so, if that constitution is defeated today, and I want the listeners who are thinking about the betterment of Nigeria, or how to save Nigeria from all of what has been going on in Nigeria, what we set out to do, which we have invited those who also have a stake in what will happen here, like the ones who suffer terror, the US that will suffer terror, if that constitution doesn't go down, is that constitution will go down. The union of Nigeria is anchored upon 100%. The union of Nigeria is anchored on that constitution. That union is at an end the moment that constitution goes down. It's not as if we can't take down the constitution by more radical means, but we don't want to go to Somalia. And that's why we're inviting everybody through the force majeure to say, let's accept this problem for what it is and go into transition like South Africa did with apartheid in 1990 to get themselves out of tell me the difference between what the Boers did to the blacks for all the many years until that apartheid constitution was taken out. That's the problem we have to solve now. And so, those who are talking about Sharia that must be there for all times, it is their ignorance that blindfolds them, and in fact their stupidity that blindfolds them into not seeing that if we can't sort out that constitution, then the union is at an end. We're not begging anybody. We're not begging them to agree with us. You put my signature on a document of title that now make you the owner of my land. And we work for from 1999 that this movement began to, call everybody, including the government. Obasanjo was president at the time. I knew how much we invested in trying to get Obasanjo to preside over how these things are reworked. He went to national TV to go threaten us, to say that if we call a meeting of the owners of Nigeria, you remember Pronaco, Obasanjo said it will be treason. Today he's going about now, I don't know what he thinks he's talking about. He had all the opportunity, he had 8 years, and this matter was brought to him in the very month he was in the very week he was sworn in as a president in 1999, to say this constitution that came from, from the time of what went wrong in 1966 to how it became war. Obasanjo was on the table every step of the way. Obasanjo was Nzogbu's roommate. Obasanjo returned to Nigeria the day the coup was happening in 1966. Obasanjo was at the tail end of that war, the one who had to receive the instrument of surrender. Obasanjo was the Minister of Works that did not do the 3 R's in terms of reconstruction. Obasanjo was the chief of staff to Murtala Mohammed that toppled Gowon and became head himself. And then Murtala Mohammed commissioned this unitary arrangement. Then he got killed in February of 1976. Obasanjo it was who then, convened the Constituent Assembly of 1977. So at every point in time, it was Obasanjo that helped this caliphate to impose this constitution since 1979. And it was the same Obasanjo they had to go to bring from prison to now revive it in 1999. And so we felt that this is the witness to what went wrong with Nigeria. A day will come when Obasanjo will be compelled to tell the truth concerning what his role had been in this carnage called Nigeria. In this setback to the black man all over the world. Obasanjo is at the center of how it all went wrong. And he can't speak the truth. And we're insisting now that there's no diplomacy to be employed anymore. That constitution must go down. Those who hang on to it, going to election under it, thinking that they have Nigeria, threatening us that it must be Sharia or nothing. The alternative is that there's no union with them. And if they don't understand what it is, they better go take a few lessons in geography. They better go to look at all the maps that had accompanied our campaign. At every point in time, we have the Yoruba constitution completely ready. I'm sure you hear them go to TV all the time announcing it. We have what will happen in the Middle Belt completely ready. We have what will happen in the southern, the rest of the southern, that's the lower Niger area. That's the combination of the old eastern region and midwestern region, but as ethnic Ijo sitting with Ogoni, Anang, Efik. That was what we went to do in the Solemn Assembly in Port Harcourt in 2015. So the entire country is ready, including the Hausa. Where have you ever been to Fulani land in Nigeria that they'll be threatening people in the... Look at the kind of nonsense that Gumi will be speaking about all the time. Look at the kind of nonsense that Syed Abubakar that says is Sultan in Sokoto. Sultan of what? Where's the land of the Fulani in this matter? Where's Fulani land in Nigeria? That they'll be threatening everybody is because they were dealing with idiots who did not ask the sovereignty question all this while. They were our own politicians who would they allow to come and be president, after they, that's what they've been discussing with them all these many years. But that's entirely in the past. We are now discussing our sovereignty. We are not interested in who is president and who is next after him. We are discussing the union. We are discussing the terms of the union. There are two separate questions. Are we in a union? Remember how Bola Ige put the question. Then we must ask ourselves whether we still want to continue in a union. Because the constitution on the table is such a fraud that we will not take it as basis of union going forward. We've done everything we need to do to get the owners of the sovereignty to carry on with their life without this setback operating as Sharia. If they are not prepared to if they can't comport themselves, the business will be done without them. That Nigeria defined by this constitution will be dissolved. We don't need any meeting, like a marriage that fails. Do you need a meeting to work out on a marriage?
So Tony, we'll come back to this, but I want to get your view on this issue.
Right.
when I met you, I don't remember the first time, but in 2019, you talked about genocide in Nigeria. And
Yes.
eventually it became an issue, it became an international story. At the point that some people, including the Bishop Kuka, is now saying that there is no genocide. Even the governor of Benue State saying that there is no genocide in Nigeria. What do you make of that? Is it did they change their position, or is there anything going on that we don't know?
Both of them, for Kuka, is a pity that somebody who has presented himself as a man of God, who is supposed to be on the side of the people, a shepherd of the people, is going to join. It has become the agent of Nigeria to go to deny the killings that everybody can see. As for the one in Benue, governor, again, it's just a tragedy that he's also a Catholic priest. Is there something the Roman Catholic Church is not telling us in Nigeria about their role in the midst of all of what has been going wrong? The governor that left before the one that is a reverend gentleman now, Ali or whatever they call him, Autumn, was governor in that same place. Autumn witnessed I wouldn't say the beginnings, the escalation that happened while he was governor. We went to the place. I, on behalf of the organization I represent, and we examined what was happening, and we worked out with him what he could do to put guns in the hands of those who have been slaughtered, because the complicity of the federal government, especially under Buhari, which has continued, I'm sure you heard it from Washington, which has continued under Tinubu, the complicity of the government of Nigeria in this genocidal killing, no longer a matter for debate. Otherwise, how else can anybody explain it? That Gumi goes to meet with the killers. And he told us of recent on national TV that on every occasion he had to go to meet the killers, the terrorists, that the government security people go with him, that he had never gone alone. So the Gumi knows where these people are. The government knows where they are. How come nobody is able to reach them? And to that extent, the ones who come to lie. You remember that when we were in Washington in 2019, you remember that Buhari dispatched Osinbajo to come to tell the same lie. Osinbajo the pastor, Osinbajo the professor, Osinbajo the Christian. And what did he get in Washington? They called him a shameless liar to his face. They are killing your people. And they sent you to come to lie to us that no such killings were taking place. Is that not the same thing Kuka and the earlier governor are doing today? To come to lie in a situation where the people are actually coming. You saw Mike Arnold, you saw all the people who have been coming to, you saw the Riley Moore committee that came, and they are lying that people are not being killed. They may say, oh, Christian genocide. The further illumination that Nina's brought to Washington concerning the matter is that it doesn't stop at Christian genocide. It is something wider than that, because it is first the Fulani conquest agenda that targets everybody. The only thing is that most of those in the Middle Belt, the place where they are now, are Christians. And so, as they kill them off and take their land, it's just Christian majority. But why are they killing in Zamfara, in Niger, in Kebbi, and all kinds of other places where in Katsina? What's the offense of those people? Because they own land that Fulani want to take. They are not Fulani, therefore they get killed. And so it is a genocide affecting the entire population, but preponderant Christian, because they happen to be Christian. And so if it is called Christian genocide, of course, it cannot be dismissed as being wrong, but it is something, the Fulani element. I'm sure when you listen more closely to the discussions going on in Washington concerning Nigeria, you see that Fulani has now emerged as the ones organizing that crime. And they are wearing the garment of, just like Uthman Danfodio did. Was it not Sharia that Uthman Danfodio came to present the purer Islam to the Hausa indigenous owners of that land? It's the same trick. And so they make it look like it's a jihad so that they can attract the support they can get from Saudi Arabia or Iran. But bottom line is that it is Fulani that is trying to take over the entire place. Once you understand that, you will then begin to fit the other elements in the picture back. Yes, Christian majority being killed, but it is Fulani conquest agenda wearing the disguise of jihad.
So, Tony,
and then masquerading as a herdsman as they move around in that order.
Okay, Tony, a lot of people, they've listened to you for a long time now, from 2019. Yes. And some of them are looking at the situation and they are saying, like, when you started, like in 2019, you had Professor Banji Akintoye as chairman of NENAS, I believe. He was a member, he was involved, yeah. And that he's no longer part of it. This year, we saw Sunday Boho, who was championing for Yoruba Nation, essentially abandoned that, and he's now singing on your mandate we stand. And I'm sure that you probably have met Tinubu before he became president, and that Tinubu being
he went from Nadeko to becoming governor, so he's not a stranger to this process. He was very much involved, very much involved.
Okay, good. But now he has the power, but what is he doing? And then his people are arguing that he's implementing those changes. They are saying that, this is idea of state police. It's a way of changing the constitution to make the states to be independent of the federal government. So what do you make of this? The fact that most of the people who were part of the struggle, what you're pushing for, either they've abandoned ship, joined the federal government, or that they are no longer interested. What's going on?
No, these are flawed characters from beginning. What we're doing was clearly articulated in writing, a 20-year plan drawn up in 1999 and being implemented meticulously according to design. Banji Akintoye was invited by the Yoruba who were involved with us sometime in 2018. That was his first coming to be near us. By then, we had done most of what we needed to do, but the people who are supposed to be the Yoruba, they said that their people don't know them enough. So they were looking for who will be able to command, who will be able to speak from our midst that will be Yoruba face. So it doesn't look like something being organized by one part or the other. He was in that search for who could be the Yoruba face in our midst. At his age at the time, with his exposure, professor in the history field, and it fell on him to be we made him chairman for several reasons, but he was less than 2 years in our midst, to the point where he did something for which we had to expel him because he endangered the project itself by crafting a lie. I don't know who. It must be this kind of a thing going on. It was later we began to see the long hands of the same man who is president now in the background of many things that were happening in our fold, because he happened to have been involved with us. So there are many people he can reach. I mean, the Tinubu that is president now. You remember it was Nadeko that became Pronaco. Nadeko dealt with the soldiers that had to leave the government house. Then Pronaco, the same conveners, Enohoro, Soyinka, Admiral Kano, Ukiwe, the same conveners of Nadeko had to now carry on when the politicians amongst them, including Tinubu that went to be governor in Lagos, when the politicians had branched off to pursue their own undertakings, the balance of what was the core of Nadeko, and I'm not reporting this matter from the sidelines, I'm reporting it as a participant, even before the 99. And so the constitution by which that democracy will be, worked was not settled at the time the soldiers retreated in 1999. So it was to get out a constitution that was acceptable to people since 1967 Aburi. That was what Pronaco was basically Aburi too. But not soldiers discussing, but the ethnic nationalities who identified the owners of the territories that the British amalgamated in 1914. That was the basis of coming. Ijo, stand on Ijo land. Ogoni, stand on Ogoni land. Tiv, stand on Tiv land. Igbo, stand on Igbo land. Yoruba, stand on Yoruba land. We identified them. We invited them to come to discuss. We invited the government of the day because our sovereignty is not in the hands of government. These charlatans that are now sitting in Abuja and talking about how National Assembly will make constitution, and including even lawyers in the land, including professors of law and senior advocates, discussing how National Assembly will make constitution. Our sovereignty belongs to, resides with the people invariably, in terms of you can't change from that. It is their land and the owners of the land that make up the sovereignty. Yoruba in Yoruba land. Nigeria is an aggregation of those sovereignties. 1914, no consultation. 1960, after Lancaster House manipulations, they abandoned it even before it took effect. That was how Awolowo ended up in prison. But by 1966, they now threw it overboard completely. Next was 1979 when they again imposed something. By 1999, they reimposed it. So we've not been allowed, the owners of the sovereignty had not been allowed to discuss their union. But that is exactly what Ninas has succeeded in doing, despite all the opposition by succession of governments. And so the ones who come in and they hop in, they hop out, for every one person that comes and goes, there are 1,000 others that you don't know the number of people who are trooping towards us. They may not be rowdy on the street for now, but in the days ahead, because they now, some of them who are pleading with us to say, just one more time, let's find somebody who is more agreeable to us. Peter Obi began his campaign in 2022 for presidential election of 2023 by declaring that the Constitution of Nigeria is not the problem with Nigeria, that it is the leadership Peter will provide, that is the solution to Nigeria. And not that he has never heard about this thing. Peter Obi has been knowing about this thing that the rest of the country is hearing right now from 2012. Let those who can find him ask him whether he attended the convention in Orlando in 2012 when he was the governor in Anambra, where Chinua Achebe had invited our people to come to listen to how we can come out of this mess we have been in since then. That's why he said that Nigeria in 2021, you remember when he said that Nigeria was like a vehicle with a knocked engine, and therefore that the search should not be for a new driver, which is new president.
All right.
The search for replacement of the vehicle. So how did we come to where, where did Peter Obi find the engine to load the obedient movement people that he took to election in 2023? And we are sad about what has to happen. And he's still warming up to go to contest election under that constitution. He's only validating what these people are doing. He's only validating the journey of Tinubu that will renew his mandate, his stolen mandate. That's what anybody going to election now. 34 governors have moved to one camp. INEC is still what it was. The judiciary is still what it was. With judgments that are being written from executive branch. The police heritage, you can see who left and who came in. So what will happen now to become a new outcome better than what could have happened in 2023 that didn't happen? That constitution is the problem that we need to solve. Those who are not listening now will be the victims of their own ignorance in this matter, because it's a question of life and slaughtered all over the place.
Okay, Tony, one last question before we take a break, and I invite our audience to join us. There are people who maybe they're allies of the government. They say that if you look at the constitution as it is now, that the people who represent different places in the country at the National Assembly, that they are the voice of those people they represent. And they said that they will point out that under Buhari, one of the things on the exclusive list was removed, a generation of electricity. That under Tinubu, they are also trying to change state police. They are saying, this is a point of view of some people, including not just people who are in government, that there could be a way that gradually using the people that are representing these different groups across the country, that they can change the constitution to what it should be. You are saying that everything has to stop, that there shouldn't be election going on. And people are trying to find out, how do you stop it? How do you stop the process? Because next month, there will be primaries. By May, the candidates will be set up. Every political party will have to have a candidate. How do you stop this process to go through what you want the nation to go through before an election?
Yeah, I hear you.
We can hear you again, Tony.
Yes. Yeah, but I'm hearing you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. Yeah, there's a delay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
If you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
The matter is straightforward. Those who are talking about gradually approach to changing constitution, ask them which constitution they want to change. We have not made any constitution. That's the bottom line. Somebody lied that we have agreed to be in union and put our signature on it as the ones who authored that constitution that took our sovereignty.
All right. Tony's internet is frozen. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll let him answer the question in full, and then we'd let you join the conversation. Again, thank you for joining us. At this point, it may be good if you can like the show, share it, and thank you for those who are supporting us. right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for staying with us. We're having a conversation with Tony Nnadi, who is Tony Nnadi is the co-convener of NINAS. This the group saying that the Constitution of Nigeria has to go down, in their words, before we continue to have elections in the country. I will let him answer the question he was trying to answer before his internet froze, and then we let people in to have a conversation with him. Tony, go ahead.
Yes. I believe I can be heard now.
Yeah.
Okay. The matter is straightforward. There have been 7 cycles of election. Those who are asking, about piecemeal, that Buhari changed, there are 68 items. If you're in Lagos and you have to go to New York, you can choose to trek to some place, or let's even just take London. You have a meeting in Trafalgar Square. You can choose to trek from Lagos. One day you get to Trafalgar Square. You can choose to go on bicycle. You choose to go by canoe. You land in Liverpool at some point and make your way to London. Those are all options. We are saying that there are 68 items in that exclusive list that make life impossible. Every one of them is a different chain. Electricity is what it is in Nigeria today, even with the amendment of Buhari. Why do I have to wait? Okay, you say state can generate electricity, but the gas and the body of water, everything they need to generate that electricity is still on that exclusive list. Why will I have to wait for those who do not wish me development to approve of what I need? Security, police, and everything is on that list. You now say you want to do state police. Where would they find the money to organize the police if the economic assets are still held by that constitution, by that federal government? So the people saying all those things are ignorant and dishonest. They are both ignorant and dishonest. Ignorant because listening to them, you can see they don't know. Dishonest because we have told them enough that they should now know. So if they pretend they do not know and they're inviting us to come and trek with them from Lagos to Trafalgar Square, then we reject that invitation. We say to them that they're dishonest because they know it will not solve the problem. If you go to say, who is going to amend the false claim that we submitted our sovereignty into the union? How would that one ever be amended? Or what do you think is behind all the agitations for exit from the union? And if you have not settled that, and you are coming to tell me what else you want to say, what you want to change in the constitution, we have not. The most important thing to settle is the question of union before we begin to talk about the terms of union. How did we arrive at 36 states? For goodness sake, that somebody is now sitting on it and they're saying, who is representing me in that whole equation? I'm now a voiceless minority on account of the constitution that amalgamated me with people who don't want to, who don't think they should discuss with me. Meanwhile, my economic assets now belong to people. The oil and gas of Bayelsa now belong to Jigawa under that constitution. And so, our straight answer to them, the ones who are saying, let us do it gradually. In the next 500 years, if it has taken 20 years to do only one aspect of one subject, because the amendment to the electricity that Buhari did still left the transmission in the hands of the federal government, still left the matter of the raw material for producing that power on that exclusive list in the hands of that federal government. So nothing has changed. They were just playing to the gallery as if they're about to do something. That's the same thing with this state police talk. So that's for that. It's not an option. They are ignorant and they're dishonest. Then we come to the question of what exactly do we do to stop? We've been to elections 7 times since 1999. Things have been going worse and worse. If we're to plot a graph, you see that we're just on a straight slide. The people who get sworn in, the ones who swear to defend and uphold that constitution after the election, you can see how their lives have been growing in leaps and bounds. But the ones who go to do that voting, you can see how their lives have been shrinking. And so we told them that we're telling them even now to say that the only thing we have invited you to do is to say the winner of any election will have to swear to and govern by that constitution. We will not go to renew our enslavement because it is your enslavement you are going to renew if you proceed to the election. We have preached it. We have tried to get them to see the reason of it. But people are being slaughtered every day on account of that constitution. People are being disrupted every day on account of that constitution. Young people are running away from Nigeria on account of that constitution. The electricity that is failing, the security that is failing, the infrastructure that is failing, everything that is failing, the corruption that is growing in leaps and bounds, the impunity that we see, everything anybody can say is wrong with Nigeria. I'm in a position to point to you the section of that constitution that is responsible for it, and nothing will change, including if Peter Obi becomes president. Peter Obi's presidency will not address the question of me being forced into union by the decree of Fulani people. Peter Obi's presidency will not solve 36 states that now make me voiceless minority. Peter Obi's presidency will not solve the question of electricity for me, no matter how much he desires. I'm citing Peter Obi because Peter Obi it was, of all the presidential candidates, that said that constitution is not the problem. We are telling Peter Obi and anybody who can reach him that he is the one responsible for what has befallen us in dragging us to election in 2023. He is not listening now. He is still trying to drag us to election that the outcome is already fixed. You saw the electoral reform that they did, leaving the back door open. So how will Tinubu repent and now hand over power to him? You saw what they've done they've decapitated all the parties. And you're inviting me into a foolish journey of let us hope. Somehow. What can be more foolish? But the matter has now come to where the victims of unitary Nigeria, those who are being slaughtered in the numbers we read every day. Some of our people can be in the diaspora talking as they choose. But there are people who are living, there are people who are listening to us now, who are not going to be alive tomorrow morning because Fulani will have killed them. And they are all over the country. They are not just in small corner of Meduguri. Go and find out what's going on in Ondo. Go and find out what is going on in Ekiti and Oyo, all the way to Ibadan. So we can sit in the safety of overseas, and we're talking about this matter as if the lives of those who have been killed don't matter. The only way, the only viable escape route still available to the rest of Nigeria from the conquest invasion of the Fulani is to shut down that constitution by shutting down this election that is coming. Those who refuse to listen can go ahead campaigning for how they will win election. But those who know that it is the blood of those who are being killed every day that is being sacrificed to get the few politicians, just 1,500 politicians will be sworn in after any election. One president and his vice, 36 governors, the Senate, only 109. The House of Representatives, only 360. Put all of them together. Then go to the state assemblies, bring all of them together, put the numbers together. You are talking about 1,500 people thereabout who will be swearing to defend and uphold the enslavement of more than 230 million people. And people are still discussing that we should keep it like that. Those who know that this is debt, that they are dispensing to others, are going to do whatever it will take, and I say again, whatever it will take to stop them from going to renew the life of that constitution. And anybody who is prepared to swear to defend and uphold the enslavement of others deserves whatever he gets in terms of wanting to play that role, to validate the journey to election, to reinforce the life of that constitution at a time we have done enough in inviting them to reason. They are avoiding the debate. They are avoiding the discussion. And they are throwing all kinds of sentiments around. Oh, it's our turn. Why don't we go and take our turn? Turn at what? To preside over the rape? Or what do you think is this criminal enterprise's business?
Nigeria become a criminal enterprise under that constitution. Because if it is a lie that we submitted our lands and our people into this union, and we're saying we dissolve the union except we go to fix it. Before it was, let us fix it so it doesn't collapse. But since after that force majeure, it has become, this union stands dissolved except somebody brings something that can fix it. Those who want Odua Republic, those who want Biafra Republic, those who want restructuring, those who want good governance, the roadblock to all of them, the granite roadblock, is the constitution that settles everything to the contrary. And we're inviting all of them to do the simple thing. The United States government had the discipline to sit down for 7 whole months. I had the privilege of addressing a committee on Capitol Hill, the very people who are now discussing the Nigeria that has brought the US military on the soil of Nigeria to take out the terror that is flowing from that constitution in the hands of the Fulani that are orchestrating it. And the people who are the victims of that situation don't have the discipline to listen, to learn, to know anything other than sentiments. And so the few who know are going to act alone. The only thing that will change is the collateral damage. Those who shouldn't have suffered, those who shouldn't have died, may have to suffer, may have to die because of the refusal of those who are refusing to listen now, to listen. But on behalf of the millions and millions of those who do not know differently, those who are doing obedient movement, those who are doing Biafra of foolishness, of stupidity, you want freedom from a monster. There's a plan that has identified the life of that monster to be taken out. That plan has been taken to places you can't get to. We went all the way to the UN Security Council. We went all the way to where Washington decisions will have to be taken. The President of the United States mandated an interrogation of the proposition we brought. And it became the policy that is being implemented today. And the people that are trying to help are busy just making noise all over the internet.
All right, we lost him, and hopefully he will join us again, and we will have a conversation with him. Chim, welcome to the show. Mr. James, welcome to the show.
Yeah, well, thank you. Good evening.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions left, but I think it's time for you guys to be part of the conversation about where Nigeria goes from here. I can bet you that the people who run the country are preparing for an election or elections that will start next month. So, but it's important to hear him and hear what he thinks should be done and how people who are interested in doing that, how they can do it. All right. While we wait for him to join us again, I will say I'm reading some comments on the comment section. If you want to join us, if you have a question or a comment, you can join us using the link I'm sharing. And but if you want to just stay on the comment section and post your question, you can do that. Now, hopefully, when he comes back, I'll be able to pick 1 or 2 questions to ask him. We typically, it looks like we bias. We support people coming into the panel because by doing that, we see the face of the person who is asking questions instead of names we may not know who they are. It's very important sometimes. I think if you have a very important comment to make, you should be bold enough to come out and make the comment. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Chim, Pa James. Greetings.
All right. So I do receive questions and comments from people, even from the point I post that we are going to get a particular guest. So All right, Tony, welcome back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so you ready? So let's go to questions or comments from our audience members. Let me start with you, Chim. Go ahead.
Rudolf, good day, and good day, Tony Nnadi. It's a pleasure to meet you. I started listening to you, I think it was during the COVID lockdown, because a lot of your videos were circulating around within that period. So that's way back 2020.
Right.
So this is 6 years counting from then. And while lots of there's nobody who comes from the geographical location referred to as Nigeria today that would not agree that a lot of things are wrong with the country and need to be addressed. But one question people keep asking is how are we going to go about it, especially when we have an elite and a political system that is still legitimately recognized globally. You know, we might have our different interpretations of whether a president is illegitimate or not, but that person, as long as he has been sworn in by the instrumentalities of government, seemingly is recognized globally and is carrying out business on behalf of the entity referred to as Nigeria. But my question to you is this. In your calls for the review, or I don't know if I'm correct to say the dissolution of the entity referred to as Nigeria, I've consistently heard you talk about the fact that the union has expired. You've used that word expired a lot. And you're referencing that expiration to the 1914 amalgamation procedure and process. I have never really fully understood it. So please, in case you have said it and I missed it, maybe you give me a bit of an education on why do you keep referring to the union as expired, and that is a need to refresh and review if we should continue and all of that. But the thing is this: are these your calls? Are they globally recognized? It's because you've been at this struggle and this commentary for a while, but I haven't really seen anything. I haven't heard of the United Nations call for a referendum in Nigeria. I really haven't seen anything, but lots of you are working. So educate me. Why do you always refer to the whole thing as an expiration of a union? That's one. And then to what extent is the global community really listening to your group and other groups out there and how this thing should be done?
Well, the matter is straightforward. If you, I don't know when you joined this program, even just this program. At the beginning, a video was played of where the flagship news outlet in Nigeria, Arise TV, was reporting the event of 2021 when Ninas had to go to camp out at the UN 76 General Assembly. Buhari was attending, and we had to go to confront him at the place, having informed the UN Security Council that our union is now disputed, that this fellow here is entirely on his own. That video clip was played at the beginning of this program. If you hadn't joined then, go to the replay and you will see it, that it was reported what we were doing and how it had impacted, how it went to the global arena. Just in case you didn't hear anything again, wherever you put your own attention is where it will be. But there's no day that things are not alone here. The constitutional force majeure, which had the presence of the leaderships of all the groups across the length and breadth of Nigeria that are not satisfied with what Nigeria is offering them. They are together doing what they were not. We're not calling for anything. We are taking the self-determination actions that can be taken within the rules, and it doesn't matter what we are not talking about the review of, because you framed, you know, when you frame the premises, you land with wrong premises, you land in wrong conclusion. The campaign of Ninas is straightforward.
It is about the constitution of Nigeria of now, the one of 1999. We are saying it must go down to terminate the union that is anchored on it. The union of 1914, by 1960, they had handed over power. Any reference to 1914 in terms of, expiration was just a matter of saying, even the people that put the union together knew that what they were putting together may not work. It wasn't designed to work. And so we have gone past whatever was inflicted by 1914 at the point of 1960. We began to do things by ourselves. What we are dealing with now is the constitutions that we made by ourselves, not Britain, and the one that is there now. We can't be talking about the ones that are gone by. The one that is there now, which if we find a way to tackle in March of 2026, will terminate the union. The reason we call Nigeria Union of 1914 was that was when the first mischief was done. And then people were empowered to hold others hostage in that union. The British that are still presiding over that enterprise, Nigeria was an offshore criminal enterprise of the British. Nigeria was with the documents, this is a global platform we're speaking on. The documents that justify what I'm saying, and I'm not saying it lightly. I'm saying it because we are in possession of the documents that justify saying it. If Charles and who is the one that is at Downing Street, if they are sitting in a room, this is exactly what we will tell them. This is exactly what I will tell them. That's what we have had to tell their high commissioners in Nigeria. Ask Katrina Leon and the Pocock before him and before her and all the people. We used to confront them here. Twice they've been recalled from Nigeria because we confronted them as they were meddling in the affairs of those who have the inalienable right to their sovereignty, those who have the inalienable right to their self-determination. And so it's not we're not in one corner urging. It took more than 250 years to lock us down into this bad arrangement. And so if it's taken some time, you say you started watching in 2020 or 20 with the COVID, it took centuries from the time the slave trade ended and colonial venture was beginning. The treaties that became culminated in 1914 were all done in the 1860s thereabouts, and then by 1914 they brought everything together. So it took that length of time to do. If you can't draw up a plan, that will go deeper than what those who locked us into this bad arrangement, we can't be coming. It's not something you deal with ad hoc. You come in the morning and say, okay, then the next day you come again with no plan. We have a plan. We're executing that plan. We've gone everywhere we need to go. We have a country-wide consensus against that constitution. We have a country-wide consensus against the Fulani that are killing everybody, standing on the strength of that constitution. And we have been able to carry that discussion to where those who have the capacity to enforce things began to listen to us. You think we were sleeping in one corner of the internet, and then the US now moved their military to come and sit in Nigeria discussing your constitution, discussing the Fulani, discussing Sharia? Or didn't you hear the hearings on Capitol Hill? So your questions are basically they founded on if you research a little more, you will have known what we are doing. We are not begging anybody. We are mobilizing the victims of unitary Nigeria to retrieve their sovereignty, which is inalienable. I'm a lawyer, not just a lawyer, with specialty in that area of law called jurisprudence. And I'm telling you what the rules are. I've been privileged to walk all the way into the UN, where that instrument on self-determination came from. Soyinka is still alive. I had the privilege of requesting Soyinka to go to Kofi Annan when Kofi was a secretary at the UN. That's how that instrument on self-determination came in 2007 as a part of this process. So it's a very deep process that has covered all the flanks. The only people remaining to listen and to learn and to be part of it are the victims of that very calamity. They don't have the discipline to learn what they don't know. They believe in speculation and emotions.
All right.
Next
Sir,
question.
Thank you so much. What I'm doing is I see some people back end. I'm limiting the number of people I bring up to 2 so that the internet will be stable because I think that will help us. Let me come to you, Mr. James. You are next.
Yes, I'm sure you can hear me, Mr. Nnadi. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I think you can. Go ahead.
Good. Thank you very much for coming. You've spoken well. I will not ask you any question. I just want to draw your attention to something. I will cite 2 or 3 examples before I bring something to your attention.
Tony, you can hear him?
Tony, can you? Coming through.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear him at all.
Oh, but you can hear me.
Whatever he says.
Yes, okay. I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead, James.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, please?
No, I don't think you can. Oh, why should I be? Okay, ask your question. Maybe I will repeat it for him. I'll make it.
Okay, I just want to draw his attention to something. I will cite about 2 or 3 examples before I bring something to his attention. When Sunday Adewusi was, I think, Inspector General Police also in Nigeria many years ago, journalists were interviewing him on the tactics they use in arresting armed robbers. He replied then that he will not be able to divulge the tactics because it will make the armed robbers wiser. That was during the Second Republic. I think 1990 or thereabout, I was a teacher at Muslim High School in Banjul, the Gambia. A group of policemen came to our school to educate the children on why they should not take to drug trafficking. So at the end of the speech, a student asked the policeman, "How do you catch drug traffickers at the airport?" He repeated what Sunday Adewusi said years ago, that I will not be able to disclose it because it will make the drug traffickers wiser. And now there's war going on in Iran. While the Iranians were preparing for the war, nobody knew what they were doing. They did it underground. That's why they are able to take their enemies unawares right now. Now, you've done wonderfully well. You've told us all you've done, all you've been doing behind the scene, but I'm a bit uncomfortable because you are divulging too much of what you have been doing. You've gone to America, you've done quite a lot at the United Nations. These things should be strictly confidential. When they before they imposed the Constitution on you and me, we never knew what they were doing. They took us unawares. So there is need for us to keep a lot of things under the carpet. So this is just what I want to draw your attention to. I will not bother you with questions because you've done wonderfully well, and I sincerely wish you well. Thank you very much indeed.
All right, Tony, he didn't have any, there was no question for you, but he wished you well. He said he did very well. All right, let's go to Rebecca. I'm bringing you in because I think it looks as if you are joining us from Nigeria. That's why I brought you first. But go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Damages. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm not talking from Nigeria. I'm talking from Asia.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, here should be almost 3 a.m. on Monday.
Wow.
And the YouTube channel I'm using is my wife's name, not my name.
Okay.
My real name is Osaro Brown Saro Ezeko. I'm from Benin.
Okay.
And I'm a full hardcore member of NINAS. And I don't have any question to ask. I only want to applaud Mr. Tony. Regarding what Mr. James said, that Mr. Tony is revealing most of the plans or whatever. Those things Mr. Tony is saying are things that have been done. And to me, what I believe is, fine, when you have a plan, you won't say the plan until the plan has been executed. Those plans are already been executed. So Mr. Tony revealing them now is not something that is bad. I'm just saying that regarding to Mr. James. And for me, I'm only pleading to our people because we have a problem. it's a very simple. We just have to be logical and not sentiment. We have a problem. We who want Biafra, we who want resource control, we who want to whatever we want, or good governance, or corruption, or impunity, or whatever thing we are complaining, there's a taproot. Why not go for the taproot, which is the Constitution? Okay, fine. If we, I was able to speak to Mr. What's his name? I used to see his Facebook Woto or whatever, Magnus or Ruka. And I called, that was last week, and later he contacted me and I was trying to talk to him. The reason was because I came across his video, which he talked about Mr. Tony and all that, and I knew this man knew about Ninas. Then why are you playing pranks on the social media? So after talking to him, I know he was dishonest. So the plan is this: let's face the truth. The truth is this, that we are all in captivity. Let's free ourselves. I'm not saying Nina's plan is the best plan. If anybody have any other plan that will rescue all of us, then we'll go for it. But if there's no any other plan now, why not go for what is available? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's go to Tony. Tony, you're next.
Thank you, Dr. Damages. Greetings, Tony Nnadi. I have listened to you. I have a question for you, and that is that if we discard the Constitution in all its entirety,
Yeah.
you are saying...
Are you calling another guest?
Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. I hear
Hello,
you.
Rudolf.
Yeah, Tony, we have someone here. His name is also Tony. So he's the one who is trying to ask you a question. Okay, we lost him. All right.
Okay, Rudolf, I'll ask the question and then you can put it to him because
okay.
It seems to, yeah. My question really is that he has said, just listening to him, that the problem that we have is basically the Constitution. And so if we discard this Constitution, then Nigeria, the entire problem, I'm trying to read into what he's been saying, then the problems that we are having, the challenges that we're having would all disappear. I don't agree with that. So on what basis is he making that statement? Because there are issues outside the Constitution. I'm knowing that there is no Constitution that is not perfect. So to say or suggest that the entire problem we have is just the Constitution, for me, is unacceptable. Maybe he needs to clarify that for me. Thank you.
All right. While we wait for him to come on, let me bring back everybody who is in the studio. But I'm not speaking for them, but I think I hear them say, not just Tony, but other people say that the first issue they have with the Constitution is that it says at the beginning, we the people, and that we the people did not at any point sit down and say, we are approving this Constitution, we wrote this Constitution, we agreed with this. That's one of their main issues. I forgot your name now, Rebecca. Remind me. You can, since you're a member of NINAS, you can take on this while we wait for Tony to join us.
Yeah, my name is Osaro Brown Izeko. I'm from Benin. The problem is this, sir. I understood what Mr. Tony or the other man, the Papa who spoke. The problem is this, sir. Constitution is a union. Like my land now, Benin land. What made Benin land Nigeria is the Constitution. What all the indigenous people, what make you in Nigeria is the Constitution. And if I'm not a lawyer, I have the Constitution here. And I've been following NINAS for years. So let's assume that, okay, now we can't even govern or elect who govern us. Check all the people who comes to Nigeria, whether councillor, to House of Assembly, to governor, to chairman, to National Assembly or senators. If you check many of them, they are all criminals. People have criminal records everywhere. Just like I'm here, I'm in Asia. Let's assume I'm doing all good. I don't want to use English. And I made money. and I come to Nigeria, I'll be recognized. I have a lot of friends like that who have made money here, blowing siren everywhere in Nigeria. That's not a normal society. If such people can become governors tomorrow, and what would they do? Criminals. Let's just use our president. So most of the things, I won't say 100%, but 90% of Nigeria problem is flowing from the constitution.
All right.
Let's assume now we elect you.
Yeah, hold on. Since Tony is
you are
here,
going to govern according to the system and structure of the constitution. You cannot change anything. I will let Mr. Tony continue.
Yeah, thank you, Brown. Okay, Tony, I don't know if you had the
what
question.
was the discussion?
The question. Okay. Our own Tony, can you repeat the question, the core of your question?
Hello, Rudolf.
Yeah, can you hear me? The internet is still not good. He can't hear us. We can hear you, Tony. We can hear you, but you just can't hear us.
Hello, Rudolf. I can't hear anything.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. It's unfortunate because we can hear you. Maybe you should try and join again if you can hear me. You can hear, yeah. It's not from our end. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I'll try to handle the issue with Tony's internet. I'll prepare another option for him. Maybe that will help. Let's take a break. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. Tony is back just for 5 minutes. I'll give him the chance to round up his thought and the way he thinks that the movement is going to achieve its goal, knowing that elections is coming up, or what he wants Nigerians to know and that Nigerians to do at this point. So, Tony, it's unfortunate for those who have other questions. The internet is not doing very well. He just wants to round up his thoughts, and then we will continue the conversation. Tony, go ahead.
Right, thank you. For those who have been asking, how exactly do we get to do this? The matter is straightforward. NINAS is inviting all of those who reject what Nigeria is dishing out to them, whether it's young people that are fleeing in all kinds of directions, or those who seek, to have republics of their own, Oodua Republic, Biafra Republic, or those who seek just good governance. None of those things will happen under this constitution. And the politicians will continue to go to election. But you are the one that will go to vote in that election. You are the one that will live in the aftermath of that election. And we're saying we've gone 7 rounds of those. Why not, for once, we listen to ourselves to say, since that constitution is directly responsible for every single thing we complain about, whether it's killings or corruption or impunity or even the one of mass impoverishment, because you can see that the politicians in government house are just taking everything for themselves, because the constitution also makes them unaccountable to you. So there's really nothing you can do than to lament about what they are doing with the Commonwealth, with the Treasury, with their powers. And so NINAS is inviting everybody who thinks that Nigeria is not working well to take only one step. Can you join those who say we can't go to renew the life of that constitution by going to election under it? Just say it. Don't say if sufficient numbers of people will say it. The people who are here to help us, that's why they're discussing it in those terms, to say what kind of constitution put the gun in the hand of the Fulani man. You can't allow that constitution to stand there, empowering the Fulani to kill, and you turn around to say you are going to vote in an election. We're not talking about boycott here so that we make the difference. Some are thinking it's boycott, or if you don't vote, other people will vote. We are saying voting is in February or January of 2027. If in March, if in April of 2026, you come along with those who are already in to say this politician, all the political parties subscribe to this constitution without exception, PDP, APC, Labour Party, all of them subscribe to this constitution. All the politicians who are going to be contesting election subscribe to this constitution. The only people who are not part of that crime are the ones who will agree with us to say this constitution is the source of our problem. We're not going to renew the life of that constitution by going to election under it in 2027. That's all we have asked you to do. That's all we have asked those who are crying about everything they are crying about to do. If they refuse to do it, the people who are coming to help us, that's what we told them we're going to get them to the transition that will be in place of election is what we need to enact. There's nothing left to be done. Once we say we can't go, once we say we won't go, there's no other thing that will happen than a transition. We're not asking those in government house to leave. We're not anarchists. The plan is fully articulated for what will happen from that day. They will go and do what South Africa did with apartheid in 1990. That's all that will happen. And the outcome of it will be that the owners of the sovereignty, that's the 5-point proposition of NINAS, contains what will happen from what we have to insist that we can proceed on the basis of that constitution, pretending we have a democracy, pretending we have a union, pretending that it will get better tomorrow. No, that we stop now. We allow those in government house to remain while we go discuss what will become the replacement for that constitution. The alternative, in case anybody thinks we are going to be folding our hands and begging them, people who are being killed, people who are being shot and killed in the places where they're being killed, sooner than later, they're going to take up guns, and because that constitution that used to restrict them is what we have defeated. Sooner than later, it will become disorderly. People are going to try to save their own life by taking laws into their hands. Then it becomes Somalia. And so we're in a position to avoid that. Even if we go to this election, from what we have seen, you saw how the ruling party had decapitated all the other parties, which was what Abacha did before. They worked the other parties to death. So who is coming to compete with the people now? But you can overtake all of them by saying this constitution is what we reject. We're not going to election. They will be the ones looking for what will happen, because from the point of the collapse of that constitution, people can actually raise their flags and leave the union. The union is dead. It's just been enforced on account of the ignorance of those who do not know the status of that constitution and what it means to union. We have no union right now. If sufficient numbers of people will gather themselves, they can leave the union. But we don't want a disorder, because if one person is leaving and another one is leaving through the other door, it may become something criminals and even international actors will take advantage of and set fire to now take us back to where we've come out from. And so we're saying the simple thing to do is that 5-point proposition of Nina's spells out what has to happen. We are not going to election on account of our rejection of this constitution. If we do that, that is when the help that the US is offering us now can produce the outcome, because they will go after their own targets. They're not coming here to govern us. It is we that will reject that constitution. That's what they're expecting us to do. They've been expecting us to do that since 2019. Because we're not listening to ourselves, we're doing all the wrong things. Ninas is inviting us even now to tell the politicians that the election will not solve this problem. Let's go and deal with the constitution. Let's go to transition. Let's go to rework what will become the constitution by allowing the owners of the sovereignty for the first time to be the ones to decide. And if we're not doing that, the union stands dissolved. They must know that we can't carry on with a union of debt that Gumi and Sayed Abubakar are prescribing for us. I think that's where we want to wind it up today. It's within our reach to do. The US already listened in full, and they're expecting us to do what we need to do in rejecting that constitution, so that it becomes something that they will either stand with us or stand with the people who are using the constitution to cause the havoc that has brought them to town. It's as simple as that. Thank you for having me today.
All right. Thank you, Tony. We appreciate you and the time you spent with us. Hopefully next time we will give you more time, or your internet will be better and we can have more interaction with the audience. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to take a break. When we come back, we will review some of the things that that Tony said that happened, and we go from there. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Question. Make I ask my question before you go.
No, he's
question, please.
No, he's still here. He's still on the screen. I can see him.
Don't treat us like this. So.
No, he wanted to leave. It's not about me. We can continue the conversation.
Mr. Tony Nnadi, good afternoon. Can I ask just a question?
Yeah, just go ahead. I'm done, but we can take your question and so I can leave.
Okay, good. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, I've actually listened to you. The more I listen, the more I get confused, because I don't really know what you really want. I'll give you let's say the case of Nnadi Kanu was World Biafra, right? That's the agitation. What exactly do you want? Are you pro-Nigeria or are you pro-divided Nigeria? Yeah, I know you're talking more about the constitution. The constitution is not right. We need to fix it. What exactly do you want? Or what are your solutions to Nigeria problem? Is it in terms of regionalizing the country? Is it in terms of division? Is it in terms of what exactly are you driving to? That's the only point I have not really understand. Thank you.
I'm sorry if you had been in this program for 2 hours. I very much believe if you have been in this program for 2 hours.
All right, we can't hear. Tony.
I think the network.
He's not speaking now. He's not saying anything. That's why he speak.
I think you will need to go to enlighten yourself with what.
All right. So.
Let me ask my question. My question very
Go ahead.
It short past AY on.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm wondering because it seems to have issue with the Constitution, not just him alone, a lot of people do. But it looks as if his only solution is to go and bring Americans to fix it. So that's where I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, that part too. That part.
All right. Let's just go around. I mean, at this point, I don't think he will be coming back. He told me when I called him, the internet is a problem, but we'll invite him sometime in the future and see what's going on. But let me hear from Mr. James. You wanted to say something. I'm sorry we didn't get to you.
Yeah, it's understandable. You see, I'm of the opinion that whatever they are doing underground to solve this problem should not be should not be divulged in public. I remember, yes, Machiavelli, either The Prince or the Discourses of the First Decade of Titus Livinus, one of these two books. The man was saying that it doesn't make sense insulting your enemy because your insult will not do him anything anyway. It will only make him to prepare harder in dealing with you, to know what is running through your mind. That's the reason why I cited those two examples earlier on. Whatever they do behind the scene, they should try to keep it to them. I mean, it's not a question of talking loud for the majority of Nigerians are, should I say, politically illiterate. So shouting and tearing yourself to pieces for their sake will accomplish very little or nothing. It will only make his enemy or our enemies wiser. That is the point I really want to bring to his attention. They've done quite a lot of things underground. The fact that they went to the US Congress, they met the president or whatever it is, should not be divulged. If you had a talk with Wole Soyinka or whatever, it should not be divulged to anybody, because you don't know who is listening, and they will build on it to make things more difficult for the people of Nigeria. This is the point I want him to understand. Actually, I have nothing against him. I commend his effort because he is doing what I am unable to do. So it is not a pat on the back.
Mr. James, I think what they are doing, they are trying to gain public support, right? I think maybe you might have disagreed with the way he's doing it, but regardless of what plans they come up with, they still need public support, because one of his criticism is that the Constitution, even though it carries the words "with the people," has little to do with the people's consent. So I think for me, from my own way of seeing him, I think this is just his own way of trying to sell, their own program, their alternative to the public. So he has no choice than to go from platform to platform. But I understand that it's going into too much detail. But a country whereby everybody is a suspect, I think
if the Iranians had divulged their missile programs, ballistic missile, whatever, the programs they're using now, if they had divulged it right from 1979 till now, their enemies would have known their strength. They are able to take them unaware because they kept a lot of things secret. It is true that they were working on programs. They did not deny that. But the extent they have gone, the kind of missiles they have, the firing range and whatever, they kept a lot of things secret. Their political systems, secret. Their military organization, secret. This is what is giving them strength at the moment. So this is.
But do you agree with him?
I'm not criticizing him.
No, I understand your point. But do you agree with the way he's going about it, trying to seek external help? Because it falls along the line of your criticism, right? You should not expose too much of the secret outside. But he's going outside to look for help. So I don't know if
the Americans is talking to, they are not divulging what he's discussing with them. It is he who is divulging it. This is my point of contention.
So even the external help is kind of selective. He's criticizing British on one side, you are pro-America on another side. I mean, we need to select. Do we want Nigeria to be recolonized. We have to do away without these people and focus on ourselves. This is the problem we keep having.
Correct. You are correct. You are correct. Yesterday I was here. I was talking about homegrown solutions to problems. I cited example with Awolowo. I cited example with Iran. I think I cited example with North Korea when the Americans lost the Vietnam War. Our solutions to our problems should be homegrown.
Absolutely.
Any external factor, external power we invite to come and interfere in our what we call problems, no matter how clever we are, we must pay a price.
All right. Thank you, Mr. James.
So
Thank you, everyone. Hold on. I just want to say that there will be a follow-up show. KJ will host an after show. So, but we have a few more minutes we can touch on. I just want to hear from different people. Tony, I'll come to you, and then Jim. What do you make of conversation? What was missing, and stuff like that? Tony, let's start from you.
Yeah, thank you once again. I quite an interesting discussion, and I thank Tony Nnadi. Like someone said, we must appreciate all that he's been doing to ensure that this country moves forward. But the area where I'm disturbed, and the question that I asked, he didn't have the opportunity to answer, is, in spite of all the misgivings of the Constitution as is presently, I was wondering if what he's saying is, if we have, quote and unquote, a people's constitution, however that is achieved, then all our problems are solved. I don't believe that. That's my problem. Whether it's America that is going to do it or whatever, there's still the basic element, a critical issue here that has to do with leadership. And if we overlook that, because it's the same people who will operate the constitution, not angels from heaven. So if you have a constitution and whatever, and no constitution is perfect, and then you think that if you're able to put a good, quote and unquote, a good constitution, I don't see how that's going to be possible, because who is going to be the people who are going to sit together to put forward the constitution, knowing the country the way it is. But let's assume that that's possible, that we get that, a constitution that satisfies all the various aspirations of the country and sections of the country. Who is going to implement that constitution? Because the constitution, yeah, grand norm. Who is going to implement it? Angels from heaven? That's my issue.
All right, Tony, thank you. Chim.
Okay, Rudolf, thanks again for giving me the opportunity to speak. See, this is the problem I have with some of our people. We always want somebody. I mean, I asked the question. I have to go back and listen to myself again to be sure where I misspoke that led to the guns from him, if he's listening, and then some of his people on the comment section trolling and speaking. Nigeria is not the only place where people have agitated for either a review of any form of anything that has to do with the union, whether it be the constitution or total breakaway from an existing union. In Africa, as an example, we have Eritrea that sought for many years to leave Ethiopia. Today, Tigray is also trying to do the same thing from the same Ethiopia. We've had Southern Sudan, and then there's also Zanzibar in Tanzania, and Zanzibar has not fully gained fruition, but they have gained what is referred to as semi-autonomy. And I can go on and on and on and on. The question then is, why is it that the agitations in Nigeria only gain semi-traction within the system or that our location, and is not exactly making wave outside? And in my opinion, it's a function of language, a function of engagement. Why do I say so? Lots of people, Tony Nnadi is making, I've been listening, he didn't even hear me. He was agitated at my, but he didn't hear me. I started listening to him. he came to the limelight to me during COVID when I was at home, because videos were flying, and in that boredomness, all sorts of people get started engaged. I started seeing a lot of his videos, and I listened. Now, to follow from what Tony said, I've heard people say this question of we the people. Who are these we the people? You say it is not the people who gave it to you until the people. So who exactly are the people you're going to nominate to sit down? So who will nominate the person from the Southeast or Igbo land, vice versa, Yoruba land, and vice versa? At the end of the day, it's still going to be the same type of elites that are going to come out, sit down, and discuss these issues. How are you going to arrive at the selection? Because we've been at this selection. Are you going to say that in 1963, it wasn't we the people also? Because Zik was part of it. Is Zik acceptable? Is Awolowo acceptable? Was Ahmadu Bello acceptable? So I've heard it's like the common cliche we say, it's the same set of people that have been running Nigeria since 1960. That's wrong. It's not the same set of people. A lot of the people who started running Nigeria in 1960 are dead. But there's after a while, certain words we use start sounding very cliche-like. My point is this: I agree he's doing something commendable, and I commend him. But I think many of them need to learn to manage their emotions. Their emotions often get in the way of people listening to them and wanting to be part and parcel of what they're doing. You can't insult your way to accomplishing an agitation. You can't abuse your way to it. At some point, we need to start being introspective in some of the things we do. I am in support of what Nnamdi Kanu does, but I will also tell you that he lost a lot of people with his use of language. Do you understand? I'm not so those people are going to still disagree with me, and nobody will hear what I have said. Sometimes our mannerisms make us lose potential allies in what we want to do. There is a put off when you start talking to certain people, just like, this one has come again. All these people who like to abuse people. So I think sometimes we need to go and listen, because I don't know, was the push for Eritrea older than the push for Biafra, for instance, as an example? Do you understand? But these guys have made progress. They're able to reach out to global who let that thing come up for review, and we've been screaming in Nigeria for reviews, and Nigerian issues have never even come up for a referendum. Not at all. Why is that not happening? And in my own view, I think it is because of the mannerisms people are putting in. Some of the cases for the dismembering of Nigeria are valid, very valid. Anybody who wants to argue it is on his own. Some of the cases are extremely valid. However, these things are not gaining traction because of how people are going about it. There are people who might say, you know what, it has come to time, we need to go and sit down, who will use their clout and accomplish certain things in the UN, but they back off because of some of the people who have been going about it and the way they've been going about it. This is my view. You can insult me if you like. It's not going to change the cost of anything. But the point is, I think some of our people who are pushing this are a bit tone deaf to listen to some people who are asking them intellectual questions. I just asked him a question. He didn't answer. He got vivatorial, go and listen to the beginning. Okay, thank you very much. I went back to listen from the beginning. I heard you. So how is that going to help in pushing your cause when you insult your way through? Anyway, Rudolf, thanks for the show.
All right, thank you so much. Ovie, before you speak, I wanted to read out a comment on the comment section, but I can't find it. It happened a few minutes ago. But what the person was saying was taking a kind of a jab at us that we come here every weekend. Oh yeah. They come here every week to shout and laugh and have fun, thinking it's hard. I read this somewhere that if you go to a barber shop, wherever in the world you live, you see the people at the barber shop, the barbers, they know how to run their countries, but they are not running it. There are people, I want people to come in and engage in this conversation. You can't just be outside and be taking a jab at people who are in here. Thinking it's hard, I know, I agree with you. But come in here and help us. We're as good as people that come in here. We can do better. I can't give you what I don't have.
Rudolf, you and I have no job. That's why we're here.
If you have it, just come on up here. Let's talk. Okay, Ovie, go ahead.
Well, I mean, the fact that the person is taking time to come listen to our inability to think, I mean, that give me more, that inspire me to keep coming every day. At least I know that he's there at the other side. So we are in it together. What we have in common is Nigeria. So it doesn't really. It's part of it's a sign that we are doing our best. We are doing something that was paying attention to, because I say life is all about time and attention. The guy, I know the guy well. It makes is whatever that is looking for so complicated, and I think that's what Chim is actually pointing at when he alluded to language. It's too complicated. I mean, if you say our constitution, I think every Nigeria will, okay. Then by the time it begin to now say, okay, this is how the constitution is wrong, and this is how we need to fix it, then it just, at the point he said Sharia, right? Okay, people, I was following, right? Then he now said, oh, that is what we want America to come and put. And then I was following. Then he get to a point, he said that those people that will come and swear to uphold the constitution in 2027, they will connect. Everything are gone. I was like, okay, this is so it was just so everywhere. So at that point, I swear to God, that couch I fell asleep. I slept off. So when I wake up, somebody sent me Obi in Kano. I think by the time we finish for here, we will see that Obi Ponkoso. That is what is in trend right now. Obi was in Kano, and maybe he go visit Ponkoso. So they throw it, now the Concosia movement. So it was
Obi and Makinde.
Obi Ponkoso. This is what I was paying attention to. Let me send you another one. There's the one that he spoke. He spoke for. Doctor, I sent you one short one, 15 seconds, where Obi spoke. Obi was shouting Konkosia, and I said, Salaam alaikum. It's a 15-second step. I sent it to him.
Let's just finish this.
Yeah. So this is why I wasn't from there on. I stopped listening to him. So at that point I was like, it's just to make the whole thing so complicated. You want Sharia law to go, they go bring America, come. Anybody will swear to uphold the constitution are gone. Like, man. So I just was like, okay, this is 10 months to election, so now it's part of the grandstanding. It's also a form of bargaining anyway. I'm not saying for him, but that group. Then when he now said that, when you ask him question about the elder statement from the Yoruba angle, the elderly man who led Afenifere. Yeah. So he said that he said that at one point they make him the leader of the Nenas. Then he was not trying. He now said that they are not trustworthy. When you start bringing it to Nubu and every other way, say, they are not trustworthy. But again, the process of making the man the leader of Nenas, it was because of his credibility, his exposure, his intelligence, and how well he's accepted within that region. Because their whole point is to make the Nenas more popular or accepted in that region. Then at the tail end of it, say, because they are all not credible, they know it. So so it was everywhere. So I just I don't understand. But most importantly, if the constitution is your problem, you are bringing America to come and fix it for you. And again, at a point, he said Nigeria ended after 1966. So the presidential system of government is Americans' baby. That is their pride. That is all their democracy as a banner of their supremacy lie on that presidential system. So in other words, we went from the British system of governance, which is more legislative, to the American style. But again, you say, oh, the whole constitution is a problem. The Americans should. So I don't know. I just, the guy I was disoriented. These are the kind of people you listen to. You lost to credit.
All right, anyway.
Yeah, good afternoon. I want to just add to what Uvi said. Sincerely, I was as confused as Uvi. The inconsistency was much. I mean, this is the first time I'm knowing about this Ninas and Mr. Tony. The very first question you ask him, the Middle East, the crisis going on in the Middle East, he seems not to understand nothing in the Middle East. That was the one that turned me off first. Then when he was talking about Nigeria, the election, how they want to stop the election, it's going to bring gun, blah, 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 anybody that come out. You don't threaten a nation, no matter what you're going to say. We still have a country right now. We have a country. And you don't even have the capacity to do what you are saying. This is off point. Let's be realistic. The other point is my concern of his geopolitical preference was worrisome. You are discarding United Kingdom on one hand. You are inviting America on another hand. We are at a point where we should be thinking of our independence, the re-independence after so many years. I have problem with selective colonialism. Like Dr. Franklin will say, he said it's a colonial hangover that is disturbing us. I actually kind of align with that right now. The issues were very, very confusing. Then on the constitutional aspect, Mr. Tony rightly said it. Like, yeah, I feel constitution is a problem, but even if you fix Nigeria constitution today, then what? Daddy. We are also part of the problem. I think we need to fix ourselves, because even if Nigeria had the best constitutions today, we are a country that don't obey laws. It seems we lie to ourselves. We need to fix a lot of things. The judiciary is a big problem. We need to fix it. We need to fix ourselves. The leadership, the followership. Sincerely, we have a lot of work to do. We need to be realistic. On the last one, the question I asked him, I know he was trying to bully. I think that is what he did to Chim. He was trying to do that. Sincerely, I don't understand what he wants. Probably call me an ignorant, I accept. But if you understand what you want, you have to be clear. Clarity is a problem. When Nnadi Kanu is talking, you know what you want. Nnadi Kanu is telling you, I want Biafra or dead. This is position of Nnadi Kanu. What do you want? Don't dance around. Be clear. What are your objectives? Be clear. Make it very clear. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, AY. James, you want to say something before
just something very brief. Somebody said thinking is hard. In the comment section, somebody was criticizing us.
Yeah.
Said thinking is hard. There's one Egyptian mathematician, I think her name was Hypatia, ancient Egyptian. She said that it is better to think wrongly than not to think at all. I think I agree with her. It is better to think wrongly than not to think at all. If he's of the opinion that thinking is hard, let him come on board.
No, the context, let me say that, yeah, you're right. But the context he was putting that was that, I think he was joking finally. I saw some other comments from him. He was saying that people come here to have fun and just to complain and, but because thinking is hard, that they... Anyway, forget about it. But
at least I'm thinking. At least I am thinking. I'm better than somebody who refuses to think or is unable to think. It is better to think wrongly than not to think at all. That's the point I'm making.
Okay. Thank you. Forefathers, welcome.
Yeah, greetings, Dr. Damage. Thank you for having me. Greetings to all the panelists and the chat and the viewers. This issue of constitution, we are back on it again. Africans won't stop talking about constitution. See, the way I look at it is this. Constitution is something that can be reformed. You can talk about it now and again, change it. But when you start saying that that is the reason why your country is dysfunctional, then you miss the point. Clearly, Africa has generated, from what I checked, it's showing more than 150 different constitutions. What has that done for Black Africa? You can change why the UK doesn't even have one. I also heard about the idea that because the Nigerian constitution says we the people, and we get upset about that. American one is the same, we the people, but they didn't vote for it. I don't understand why we have a hang up. I think to an extent I do, because things are not working. We are looking for a way to solve it. And often what we do is we find the easy route, isn't it? Arguing about constitution is easy. It's not too hot. It's not like, staring down the people that want to oppress you, that own your country. That is why we like all these things. We know that is not the solution. Of course not. Because there are countries with all kinds of constitutions out there that are functional. Why are we the ones that are dysfunctional? It's not only just one country that you say is a sample of dysfunction. It's almost the entire Black African continent. So they all have different constitutions and they still remain dysfunctional. It tells you that there is a common factor that is preventing them from being actually functional. That has nothing to do with the nature of your constitution. That has nothing to do with your economic model. That has nothing to do with the tribes within those nations, because we don't have Fulanis in the southern part of Africa, but they're all still rubbish. So what that tells you is that we are not ready to confront what our true problem is. And you have people come out and talk about these things. As a matter of fact, when they do these things, they are ensuring that Africa never really rises, because they are not nationalists. Because when you are busy arguing that, our region is not represented, we have to be heard. You are not going to create nationalists, are you? You are polarizing the nation as much as you can. And you truly need nationalists to build those nations to be strong, so that they transition from dysfunctional nations to nations that are actually progressing. Nationalists build nations, not tribalists. And our country, we don't have them. It's really sad, because almost all the people that come here, there are very, very few of them you can say this person is a nationalist. I might even see more nationalists on this panel. When we talk about people like AY, even the Masca, we have more nationalists on this panel sometimes than we have.
What's wrong with you? That's something's wrong with that list.
You want me to call you?
Forefathers, hold on. Forefathers, let me just push back. You were talking about American Constitution. American Constitution was, first of all, the people elected, the states elected people to go to the convention for them, and they ratified it. They voted and said, this is what we agreed to before it became the Constitution. In the case of people pointing at Nigerian Constitution, they are saying that this thing was smuggled in by the military. Okay? The people, there was no body that voted for it and said, we agree to this. Even if it's people elected, even if it's not the whole country, it didn't happen. So that's the fundamental issue that people have with the Constitution. So it's not easy. It's not right to say that the American Constitution was that is similar. Similar thing happened, or even the British structure, where they had processes that led to what they have now, that involve the people.
Actually, the British hardly even consulted the people at all. The British is just about the monarch and the parliament. Once the parliament decides, that's it.
Yeah,
and
but how did the parliament come to be? How did the parliament come to get power away from the emperor?
They fought for it.
They did, using the parliament, the people. So it's a process.
You can argue that we fought for it now against Abacha now. Did we not fight? Abiola died in jail for it.
No, we had no say in what became the structure of that country. That's the point they are making.
If you look at
our elected representatives,
exactly, they are there. They've been there for 26 years.
Does that notify the initial stage?
Go on, Ovi. Said what?
I said our elected representative now are not acting on that constitution. Does that notify that initial absentee?
Well, yeah, I asked that question. I said that they are making some changes and his point was that just two changes that are fundamental, that are big, but it's not even big enough because there are so many things that we needed to change, and that would take a long time if we go this way. Hold on, forefathers. Let me see Chim and see if it's for you. Go ahead, Chim.
So I disagree with forefathers. Number one is he keeps coming here to tell us the UK doesn't have a constitution. That's not true. The UK has a constitution. It is not just, it is an uncodified and unwritten thing, but it is founded in different documents. And the case of, if you read their history very well, is very documented. You see that there was a tussle to whittle down the powers of the monarchy and remove, that absolutism that is always embedded in a monarch that makes them to become dictatorial and decide for everyone. That is how their parliamentary system came about. Even when the first person who became prime minister, what's that his name, and he became a dictator, they also fought and resisted and began to whittle down things. So it is, listen, unlike the US that has a central document, the UK doesn't. But to say the UK does not have, in other words, you're saying the system is just run nilly-willy without rules and ground norms and stuff like that. That's not correct.
Okay, maybe I should have used the term a written constitution. Like they sat down and wrote a constitution. The UK is basically run by presidents. In other words, they just make it up as they go. Basically, that's what they do. And if you look at
hold on, forefathers. We're having a serious conversation now. You can't say they make it up as they do. Or they go. Let me give you an example. Let's pick an example. How do they appoint a prime minister? It's written. Yeah, or even if it's not written, it's set. Everybody knows.
They actually do have a written constitution.
So don't say that they make it up. They don't make it up. If there's a challenge to the prime minister today, there is a process by the party that is empowered to appoint or nominate somebody else. And if there should be an election, there's a process. The prime minister cannot wake up and do anything they wanted to do without following that process. So it's not accurate.
So uncodified constitution in Nigeria, they will consider it fraud, isn't it? Because even the one that we have that is codified, we still consider it fraud, not to mention uncodified one. But yeah, the UK is running based on uncodified constitution. That was a kind of mishmash of rules put together. You can barely pick one document and say this is the UK constitution. It doesn't exist.
It does exist. It does exist.
Okay.
There's a constitution that is. What are you talking about?
No, it's not. You see, it doesn't exist in one. They didn't write all of them in one.
This is a country
of course, you can collect the entire internet and put it in a book. You don't understand what I'm saying. You should understand what I'm saying.
Forefathers, can I correct something? Sorry, please, and you continue. You see, the difference between that UK and Nigeria is, let's go a few years back to 2016 when the referendum for Scotland and the referendum for staying in the EU came about. There was a process. The system knew that they could see that the voice of the people on these key issues were high, and they listened to it and gave them a platform to express their views. The Scottish one didn't pass the threshold, so they remained where they are. But the threshold for continuous stay in the EU exceeded the threshold, and they gave in. So you see the difference in this. So when you say this, they have patterns and things they use to gauge things and to know when to say, let's listen to the people. The people's voice is high. There's a pitch, length of this people's voice. Let's listen to them. In our own case, we don't even have that.
The reason why you don't have it is not because you didn't write a constitution. That's the original point I'm making. Because African countries have written so many of them, thinking that is the solution to their problem, but that is not the solution to their problem. Because if that is the case, all the countries that have so many varied constitutions that are non-Black African, why are they functional? Even the ones that can't even be bothered to codify it rule the world. So why are they functional? Why are they that functional? It tells you that the reason why we are having our problems is not that. And this is why I keep saying, and every time we go into the minutiae, says, oh, it's not, we wrote it this way, we didn't write it that way, we didn't declare it this way. All that is details, lower tier issues. If you want to deal with the real issues, then you deal with those ones. And I fear that the reason why we don't want to deal with them, because we know it is hard, it is dangerous game to play. You don't want to play the game Iranians are playing, North Koreans are played, Indians are played, the Chinese are played. You don't want to play it because you know it's dangerous game. and we run away from it. And that's what we do. And let's just admit that that's what we are doing when we do this type of stuff, because we know this. You can write the constitution like I think it was James that said it. Is it an angel that is going to come and run it? It's still us. You still end up in the same circle that we started off. We don't have Fulani hegemony in Malawi. We don't have Fulani hegemony in DRC. They are even more dysfunctional. So I don't know why we do these things, but I guess I know. Like I said, it's hard.
All right.
But based on our
don't go back to Sunaija. No, that's enough. Let's welcome CM. Because CM is gone again. I wanted to hear from someone who can give us.
I just wanted him to put it at the diversity into consideration in terms of religion, ethnicity, how the size and the proportionality. If we don't have a document that will actually put some people in check, how do we coexist in peace with our reality?
I agree with you that it's good to have a written document than not to, because that would be even more chaotic. But what we have right now may not be measurably different if you just change it the way we are looking to do it. Most of the stuff I saw, I'm not sure it's going to make much of a difference. If I was to advise, I would say look at the Swiss model, because that is what I hear from people most of the time. People are really
but Tunanja, we cannot get to Swiss model if we don't have this kind of conversation.
I agree with you. I'm not against it. Like I said, you can do it, but sometimes we use it to cover up for bigger problems. Hence, you don't even get nationalists show up. If you want to have the conversation, you can have it in the context that, because that's what I hear about a lot of people. A lot of people complain about this, like, oh, if you go online, you go to TikTok, they will be saying, oh, our person is in office. This one is our person is in office. Let's end that. Let's end that and move on. Send all of them to the center. Let them govern. After all, 6 heads are better than 1. Let them govern on behalf of the nation. That way, at least you have some semblance of participation by all the 6 regions in the country. That is what that is better to do than the rest. You can taper it down and replicate the same process down this in the chain. So I don't understand why we look at these things as the grand solution to all our problem. It's not. Even if you have a presidential system, it doesn't necessarily mean if those presidential systems, those people end up there and they are still cowards, you still have the same outcome. You just that 6 heads are better than 1. That's what I say. And you also will unite the nation. One other thing I would say that may sound a little bit controversial and tribalist, I actually think it is very, very important for a Southeastern person to become president in the coming years. Part of the reason is that it's going to help bring the country together a little bit more. And secondly, which is a little bit more controversial, is that generally their culture tends to want to benefit from anything they do. Otherwise, if you're a trader, imagine the kind of, as a trader, it's not like Islam where everybody wants to be altruistic and everything. A trader wants to gain. And, the Western culture tends to be more conciliatory. Let's all get along. Let's talk about this. But a trader wants to gain. And if you look at P2B, the way it campaigns is, hey, I want to, consumption to production. I want to produce to make money. I want to produce and if they go to an argument for Nigeria, I believe a Southeasterner would argue better on behalf of a Nigerian. On average, I'm not saying it's universal. On average, than any other group, because it's in their nature. From a very young age, most of them are already trained by that. That is, and if you look at it from the way Nigeria looks right now and the divisions you see in the country, I think it is quite important that a Southeastern person ends up in office. Maybe not in the next 3 years or 4, but sooner or later it needs to happen if we don't have a presidential council system. Because you can't have a country where a massive population within the country are happy to see foreigners come and bomb the country. You can't have that.
To Nigeria, this is one of the most outlandish things I've ever heard. What are you talking about?
Maybe outlandish, but sometimes outlandish stuff can come across like that. But it might make some sense. I'm telling you, it's a valid argument because I've seen it. Because if you look at Tinubu went to London, what did he do? Nothing. Basically nothing. I don't believe if we had someone like Peter B in office or any other South, is that
Papa, let me help you. Flip Tinubu with Akinwumi Adesina.
I don't know him.
What's the difference? Are the same people?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't
And
know
this
him.
man is leading a...
One is old, one is young. That's just the difference.
No, that's not that's in terms of thinking. Listen, I'm from Southeast, but to say that, to use that kind of argument on why an Igbo man should be president, that's why I'm saying to him, flip Tinubu with Akinwumi Adesina and see if the Southeasterners will not vote en masse for that fellow.
They might vote for him, but my argument is because of the trading culture. They have Southeasterners have a trading culture, and as a matter of fact, they might even be better nationalists than most other groups because they are all over the country. So they have a trading culture. To trade, to survive, you have to profit. Everything you do, you have to profit. Even when you pay transport, you don't want to pay transport and go and lose money, because by the time you do the summary of your accounts, it doesn't balance. You're going to lose. And from what I know, in Nigeria, Southeasterners, they know how to do business quite well.
Okay.
So I think them participating in leadership, there's nothing. I think it's going to benefit Nigeria. Not to mention the Obama effect. The Obama effect is a group that has been alienated in the country for quite a long time. When they participate in the political process and lead it, generally that nation is more united because of it, because they don't feel that alienated anymore. So I personally, I think it's going to be beneficial to Nigeria.
So America was more united under Obama. Is that what you are saying?
Oh, just that now. Just that black people felt like they are let's face it, a lot of black people felt like they are now part of the system a bit more because Obama, some of us, a lot of black people around the world felt that way. You know that.
No, but you are making a very strong argument for
okay.
I totally agree with you.
Okay, you're not helping me. You're not helping me. I want to round up with
Doctor, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, we started with the parliamentary system upon independence, and we discarded it. What was wrong with it?
Nothing wrong with it other than it was a catastrophic failure.
America never wanted it.
So now we discarded a system that some of us now look back to and say, well, Nigeria was more progressive when we were operating the parliamentary system. We're trying the presidential system. Now we say it's no longer good again. So two systems, not good. So doesn't it tell something about us?
We have a problem of sovereignty. We've never truly come together as a people to push for our true sovereignty so that we determine anything that happens to us. When we start doing that, as a matter of fact, right now, I think we surrendered it like Esau. It's not because I'm not even sure it was forcefully taken from us. We just never bothered to take it from them. Because if you look at the way our leaders are behaving, they don't seem like they are actually being blackmailed or forced. They are happily surrendering it.
All right, we have less than 10 minutes. Let me hear CM, and we'll round up. CM, go ahead.
Less than 10 minutes, you said?
Yeah, about 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Good evening. You have less than 10 minutes. Okay, well, what can I say? Good evening, Rudolf, and good evening, everybody. I observe all protocols. Actually, I'm sorry I missed Tony's interview because Tony... What is the name? Tony Nnadi. He's always engaging because he believes in the power of the constitution to rewrite the wrong about the structural imbalance, unworkability of Nigeria, and maybe improve the fortunes, which I agree. I agree to the extent that, you see, my discussion about Nigeria always starts from Nigeria is a country, yes, of many nations. We must underline that. Nigeria is a country of many nations, different civilizations. Nobody should be forced. Nobody should be taken for a ride. So the only way in a plural society like Nigeria, you get things going, you give people a sense of belongingness. That document, because people look at this constitution as a piece of maybe a paper. No. Remember that is every legal practitioner in Nigeria will tell you to the Supreme Court of Nigeria. And what is that Supreme? It's about the Constitution. So the Constitution is important. Yes, most people feel, for instance, I'm listening to an argument by there's a lady called Ijo Blood, and she made sense. She said, why is it that the gold in Zamfara, they're not bringing it for sharing, but their own crude oil, with all the devastation, is what they've been sharing for years? I mean, it's only a fool that won't see the logic there. As much as I can be able to help her case, but I agree with her. These are some of the things that Constitution will address. And this is what brings a lasting peace to the country. That's why Constitution, the people that need it most are in a plural society. Let's say if my Igbo people were one country, we may decide not to have a constitution. We use our traditional way of doing things. Nobody will say he cheated. But when you have different nations forced together to make it work, to make sense out of it, we should sit together. Everybody must be represented. Say what you want. And I know those, like Ijaw people will first of all tell you, say, look, if Hawaii should be a national cake, every gold must be a national cake. That's logic. It's as simple as that. You can't stop it. So this is what the Constitution will address. It's not just the power of the executive. No, it's the people that will say what they want, particularly when you feel you are being cheated in one way or the other. So Constitution is important. I wanted to raise it with Tony, but he says, see now, here I am. I didn't comment. I don't know what he said unless I go back and listen. So Constitution, I support it. It's important, irrespective of who is in power. In fact, if the Constitution is so clear, it will even stop some agitation. It will even settle a lot of things because you now know your position. You know what you are. And we need it. Nigeria seriously need it. The resources, people, they said they are the lower in population or call them minorities. They have the resources more. The big nations do have their own, yes, but it's more concentrated in the area they say these are the minorities. So what then do they do? What was Saro-Wiwa fighting for? Was he fighting for the president of Nigeria? Is it not a fair share that you are taking something from my land, you devastated it, I'm not getting anything? Let's draw a constitution to make it clear this is how we should be. So constitution is important, and that should have been the first step. And the fact that people are resisting, are always telling you, let's leave it, it means that there is something there. The option is there. Otherwise, I do not see why. I do not see why. You should be able to talk to each other, make a law. Here in Dr. Damage's show, there are certain rules, even if some may not be known to me, but I know there are certain things they will say, no, it's a rule of the platform. Despite the fact that the whole Nigeria is not represented here. So Constitution, for what it is worth, Nigeria should look into it. And if we should be together as a country, our Constitution should be a product of our collective contribution on how we are going to move, for how we are going to relate to each other. It is not enough. If you wish it away, it's still going to come back. And I think that is at the root cause of why, one, you can't command loyalty. Yes, you can't command loyalty. Two, you can't tell somebody to be patriotic. Because he will say, look, I don't really see all these things. I don't get anything or whatever. Moreover, Nigeria depends. We are not industrialized or to use our brain to figure out a complex product. What we believe is go to the soil, dig out what is in the soil, sell it, what nature has put there. And because we are going to the ground or to the soil, that soil belongs to a particular ethnic group. So you see why. If assuming we are industrialized, it should have been a different thing. You can say to hell with your this thing. Germany is industrialized. Singapore is industrialized. They don't care about even if you tell a German there is coal under their soil, they may say let it be there. We can generate electricity with solar or any electrical, maybe connecting 2 or 3 wires together. They can get something. So this is why Nigeria as a country, we need this constitution, and it should be done like yesterday. Without it, we are not moving forward, because that is the basis of disharmony. That should have been the basis to command patriotism. So to me, I do not feel it's out of place. The earlier it is addressed, the better. Having said that, it does not really guarantee, so to speak, maybe if you do it, it becomes uhuru. No, I do not think that. I'm not saying that. But it will give people so that you now say, yes, this is how we want to relate. Those that still does not want to move forward can still remain the way they are. But that friction of somebody saying that I'm not part of this, I didn't contribute to this, that will die down. And as far as I know, if we streamline the constitution very well for our own good, it will solve a lot of problems. People will now know, say, yes, this is where we are, this is how I relate to so person, this is what should be done. And then all this impunity, I mean, it will cut it if not by 100%. It will just like, because all this constitutional impunity, you can do anything and get away with. Because people will tell you, no, you can't do that. Look at the appointment we are doing. We put a constitution for federal character. Federal character means if you have a position to fill at the federal government, go around the entire country, get the best from each area and then to go and fill it. Are we practicing it now? Are we? We are not. Be that as it may, people are not happy about it. They will say, I mean, does it belong to one section? Is it that if you want to, okay, for the first time in Nigeria, if you have a minister, the senior minister, the junior minister must come from somewhere. But look at Minister for Finance, from the Senate group, Minister of State and Minister for Finance. I mean, what does that tell you? So these are some of the things that when people complain, some people may sweep it. It doesn't. We are human. We are different. Let us understand that we are different civilizations. We came together by the force of Lord Lugard. And for us to remain like that, we should respect each other. It's not. That's why that is even what is causing insult. We should be able to respect each other. What is due for me, let me have. What is due for you, please have it. We can't continue like this and then you tell me in the end, then I should be clapping hand for one Nigeria. No. So the constitution must spell all these things out. It's not enough saying it on different platforms. When you say it, it dies down there. But if you compare people to put it in the constitution that this must be done, then we should now know where we are headed.
All right, thank you. I wanted to actually point out that the federal character didn't say that it has to be the best. I don't think they will.
Okay, but you have to go around now. You have to represent the character.
Not
but you
the
can't
best.
be taking mediocre, but at least you go around the country and
you can say that, but not
the
the
character.
best.
You let it represent every shade. Yeah.
The people writing that constitution, they are not the best, so they are not going to put that in. So that will exclude them from that. I'm not expecting that. Anyway, we've done a good job. I really appreciate everybody and their contribution. I wanted to pull Forefather's legs a little bit, but we don't have time. But he was trying to get to something, but he didn't do it well. When he was talking about Igbo people and being traders, I had issues with that, but I know what
the culture that they've.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not universal.
No, it's not even about being traders. What you're trying to. Yeah, what you're trying to say is this. Okay. People forget this. That Nnamdi Kanu started by fighting to fix Nigeria before he decided that it's not working and he has to. He started thinking about let's get the Igbo land, let's get Biafra. If you go to a speech that was made by Zik in 1949, he laid that general idea that because of the nature of people from the South, is the nature in the sense that they are willing to go across the country and live there and participate and do activities, that they were most likely going to be the ones that will say, okay, we need this country to work, okay? But what has happened is that, and most people who are not from the Southeast may not understand this, what happened was that after the war, and what led to the war and everything that happened, people from the Southeast, they started feeling like this has not worked for us. In fact, most people criticize people like Zik, people like P2B for the position they have now. They felt that this country has not worked for us and that people are not willing to reform it so that it could work for everybody. So why you, forefathers, you're saying that people are on TikTok making videos saying about their region or their own. That's not your concern. Your concern should be, how do we make them feel that they are wanted in this country? They've already detached themselves because of what they felt. You are still criticizing them for saying we're out because these things are not working for us. But you should be concentrating on how do we make them feel that there's something for them. So you pointed out, like what CM pointed out a few minutes ago about if you say you are having a federal character, then you should make sure that at any point, people will look up and see that this government, this structure represents me. When they look up and they see that it's not, they will feel like, why should I be part of it? That should be the concentration of people like you who call yourself nationalists, patriots. It shouldn't be pointing at people who have already signed off because of how they felt. It should be, how do we make them feel they are part of this? All right.
I agree with you on that point. But when I talked about the internet, I was saying that Yoruba, Igbo, everybody is doing the same thing online about.
They've all signed up. Yeah.
But that's why I talked about the presidential council system that forces the people to work together, because the people that practice it today, they are one of the boldest. Switzerland announced that they are not going to give Trump any more weapons recently. When America, other people are scared. They are not scared of anybody. They've not been to war for 200 years, and they are the only people that have that type of constitution, where all the regions are represented, and they are all represented at the same time, because they don't trust each other like we are in Nigeria. They don't trust each other. So everybody's represented at the same time. And I think if we do that, this debate will go away about, who is at the top, who is conniving again, because everybody's at the top. And it filters down the system. So I agree with your point. You have to make people feel, this is why I said a Southeasterner needs to be elected into office too. Because it's going to be good for the nation. Because you can't have a section of your nation feeling like they are alienated. It's not good. It's a security threat.
All right, we have to end it here. There's another broadcast coming up with KJ where there will be more opportunities to look into what we discussed today, expand it to issues that are in the news as we speak. I have another video, I think it was sent to me by Ovie, of what happened in Kano a few minutes ago. All right, P2B learned.
Are you still worried that Obi doesn't have a party?
He learned how to say salam alaikum.
Are you not the one that says you never work with Kwankwaso? Now you are now singing another language. You said you would never work with Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso is going to go to APC.
Are they working together now?
No. This you have to.
I don't know.
Things are changing. Things are changing. If you watch the political scene in Nigeria, they have 2 months from next week. They have to pick their candidates. And Obi has expressed concern that he might not be on the ballot. That was last week.
Correction. Not that he's not going to be on the ballot, that he might not secure ADC tickets.
Okay.
That's two different things.
Yeah,
but again, by this time, sorry, doctor, just the short term. By this time, 2022, nobody even knows it. Now only 4 people where they fit for inside room knows Obi will run for president. Now May, Obi and John Labour, May 2022. So I don't know why people they worry.
This is why they are worried. Some things have changed. Okay,
they are politically immature.
First of all, in 2 months they have to pick their candidate. Every party will pick their candidate. Hold on, in 2 months. Also, you have to be a member of a party, and there is a window. You can't just leave. It's not like before, where midway in May you can move from ADC and go and join another party and run for president. So things have changed.
You will beat any party card.
Yeah. I think it's. No, I don't know.
See it?
I heard that he registered.
We all heard that.
All right, we gotta go. Who wanted to say something?
Let me manage to put it. I know. Yes, I don't know whether you have discussed it. Tinubu's visit to the UK to me, it's more like to me it's a total waste. A country like Nigeria, and you are some commander-in-chief, the first thing you put on the table is to tell the country we need to fight insecurity. That is what you put down on the table. That should be the talking point. No contestation. That is the first thing you tender when you meet. You say, look, this is the problem I'm facing in Nigeria. You tell them, if you are diplomatic, you people were in Nigeria for how many years, or over 100 years, since Lagos became a British colony in 1861, till you left. Now look at the type of stunting I'm facing. I want the British intelligence to come and, liars with Nigerian DSS or whatever, so that we can feed these people out. Then we can make progress. But Tinubu,
that was a part of the deal. Yes, there's an agreement for their security agency to work with Nigerian military.
I didn't hear it. What I had was a post authority to go and
forget what you are. Go read their
port.
outing.
I didn't hear about insecurity, to fight insecurity.
You know how to read. Go read the paper. Stop hearing. Stop listening to people.
Obi, hold on. Let me play this for you, Sim. Oh, I can't play the videos are many in the studio. Okay. Sim,
no, to be honest, maybe is he?
I will find the video and play for you, Sim. But go ahead, finish your thoughts. Sim, go ahead. You want to see the video first?
CM is frozen, I think.
All right.
I'm not frozen.
Okay. All right. So CM, let me play the video for you. This is where.
Even if it okay, just summarize it. So because I didn't hear. Okay, well, let me.
Being the largest city in West Africa, country in West Africa, and on the continent, and challenged by terrorism and it comes from the Zaire and the conflict of climate change and all of that. We will be able to discuss it in our bilateral relations and see what Britain can do to accelerate the friendship, partnership, and the collaboration.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, that's for CM.
No, I didn't. Sorry. What did they say? I don't know whether. No, I just had accelerate friendship and so what. Thank you.
Climate change causing the problem.
It reminded me of Jonathan when he met Obama and was telling Obama, for you to fix Africa, you have to fix Nigeria. For you to fix the world, you have to fix Africa. And for you to fix Africa, you have to fix Nigeria.
You see the mentality.
You have to fix his village. You have to fix Bayelsa.
No, that guy looks like he's being oppressed. The mentality is all wrong.
You have to fix
No, because you see, why I say this is that I know Britain want to extract something from Nigeria. In diplomacy, you have to put your own down. So what are we? Because this is what you should use. When you tender, the whole world knows that Nigeria at least is battling with insecurity. So when you tender it, you put them off balance. You say, look, this is really pressing of all the emergencies we need in Nigeria. This security is number one. We need it to restore normalcy and everything. I mean, you can go to town. When you express it, even if you are demanding anything from them free of charge, they should be able to sit down and say, look, this is a serious engagement. That you go there, I don't know what.
CM, the president believes that the crisis is the header farmers crisis. He doesn't believe that is terrorism. He doesn't. So how do you expect him to table that kind of thing? I'm surprised that the British government did not ask about their own citizen Nnadi Kanu, who is incarcerated. I didn't see that the British, table that before the president to say, we have someone from our country who a British citizen who you have incarcerated. What are you doing? Are you going to release him? So if you do this for us, we do this for you. I didn't see that happen. So it was just all hogwash as far as I'm concerned.
No, Tony, if they had that as their agenda, they wouldn't say that in public. They wouldn't say that in public. That's not how. They won't say something like that.
That's a waste.
You know what?
You have much more pressing problem. Insecurity at the heart is tearing the country apart. So what are you? This is what you tender. Or if there is something you are if there are organizations you are consulting, you tell Britain that you need them to back you up. You need them to put their weight behind you as you approach this and this. That is what you tender. Before you know it, they will look at themselves and say, look, this is a serious engagement. We can't wish this away. Then you tell them, a member of the Commonwealth of Nations, I don't know, this thing, I just go there, it's, to me, it's a waste. I was looking for, because you don't get anything. International in diplomacy is what you bargain for, is what you get. Exactly. If you don't bargain for it, you don't get it. That is diplomacy. And the best way to do it is that when you put that your own, you make sure that you make it to be overwhelming more than whatever they are asking you. So they will not say, look,
whatever they might
that will
even
not take
refuse.
place on camera now. That will not take place on
They
camera.
might even refuse you the first time. They might even refuse you the first time. Like when Mao Zedong went to Russia to demand their nukes, they refused him the first time. But when Stalin died, Khrushchev was happy to give it to him. You have to be ambitious for your people.
You are not going to say that on camera now. You are not going to say that on camera.
Of course you're not going to say that on camera now. But clearly our leaders don't ask for anything.
Anywhere you go, in fact, if you had gone to United Nations, you sit down to tell them, no, it's a wasted opportunity, to be honest with you. What is it? Papa Seaport, Papa Tinkan. Is that
we
what
are analyzing based on headlines, and that's not fair to our listeners. If we want to analyze, let's have more depth other than headlines. There's a security agreement in the Tinubu visit to UK. I don't know what we are arguing about.
Of course, it's training and sharing of data and for criminals. That's all there is.
Yeah, but to say there's not a deal, there's no agreement.
But that is nothing, though. That is.
But we don't know the details. We're talking about security matters. You are not expected to see the details on the on television.
No, I don't care about seeing the detail. I care about the result.
It is not the detail we are talking about.
If they ask you, give detail of what policy they agree on, you don't know.
Blindly now.
No,
there are no results.
Hold on, to Nigeria. Everything you are talking
about. Alone, they agree. Is it not low?
Everything you know, everything you know about the trip was what you read on headlines. Am I lying?
Yes.
Exactly. Then how does that even make sense using
how
that to judge?
Makes sense is our leaders have been traveling there since 1960 and look at our country.
That's how it makes sense. You don't have to wait for one. We are talking about Tinubu visits. We are talking about
because
is that different?
No,
the number one challenge Nigeria is having now, and it's overwhelming, is sinking the country, is insecurity. That is nothing is more important. 99.9%. That is what, if it's me, that is what I will tend. I can forgo any other thing. For 2 or 3, that's what we are going to discuss. I get a fair commitment, tangible. What are they going to do? It doesn't mean you disclose it, but
that
it doesn't mean you.
Of the trip. CM, calm down. I mean, you are better than this, CM. You're better than this. Do your research.
I think he's right. I think he's right. You know, I have to say some of our people don't have ambitions. Others have more ambition. And I feel bad for our people when the ones that lack ambition are the ones that are representing us.
Let me tell you something, Ovie, because we are this thing. When what is the name? When after the bomb, when this guy visited, is it a God? At the talk. Sorry, this is what to go. Do you know when was it the Kennedy? When he was the President Kennedy, his politics of New Frontiers, when he was discussing, I think I read it in Time Magazine, was telling Japan that they can bring Japanese students as exchange to US. Do you know what Japan replied? He said, let them come and establish the branch of Harvard in Japan. Do you know the meaning? He said, no, let them come and establish a campus there for them. You see, this is because that you're not telling them that you need more. You don't just go by somebody you are going to. You don't just go by his terms. You try to impose your own terms.
So,
and as far as Nigeria is concerned today, any day, any Nigerian leader that mentions insecurity, the world will listen because they know that is the problem we are facing. So when you go for anywhere, you say, look.
Let me correct you again. What if I tell you that part of the what Tinubu administration is asking from UK regarding the healthcare is for them to come and build institution here in Nigeria. See, and the argument is that we educate our doctors and nurses, and you guys take advantage of them.
Maybe
you guys need to come and build. You guys need to come and invest in institution of learning, especially within the healthcare system. Come and build healthcare facility that will contribute to the way we educate this hour. So it's also part of the thing. Most of our criticism, we they carry on from headline. You know, nobody na the pro-government person, I write them, or person where they against the government. Go into the document. All these things are not too hard. We are better than this.
They've announced it themselves on the news.
Is it not them that announce it? Is it not go? No, but now government official, now the government PAs or this thing.
How the media work.
You already know how the media work.
They will not come and tell you what
hold on, hold on. I know what Ovie is trying to do, and I understand that. So the fact that you don't expect the government to say everything that they agree to, publicly is one, but it doesn't mean you can look back and see the results for the past 20 years, 40 years, 50 years. The result is not giving us any confidence to believe that they did something different from what they've always been doing. So people who are, hold on. People who are questioning the outcome, they have the right to do that. But also the reason why we need to question it is that it's because the people question that will force them to give us more information if they have any. If you don't question, they won't. And most likely they did not.
I agree, but doctor, are we questioning the relationship with our history, with relationship with Britain, or we are questioning the trip? Because it's two different things.
I'm not questioning relationship. I'm questioning this one.
A sample of what has been happening throughout history.
So the details of this trip is not fully out, and we are just arguing based on the little that we have.
We have to. That's what we have.
Because if
that's what we have. And then also by arguing and by questioning them, it will force them to give us more. If
we are questioning, that's fine. I agree with that.
If they have any, if the media is not questioning, how do you think the New York Times and all these American media they break news? They break news because they question. And they question things.
If the headline.
Because
if the headline
cannot hear us, CM can talk anytime.
If the headline reads, if the headline should read that Nigeria's visit to UK, part of the deal agreed is that there will be intensified. We have to step up the fight against maybe insurgency or insecurity. That Britain is going to, just say something like this. We don't need the nitty-gritty, so that we know that at least this is what you came back with. We're not asking you whether they're going to send 1,000 soldiers.
But
or
the security deal that we have with America is not enough. If I should put a twist to it.
Are we talking about America? We are talking of that.
No, we
are talking about the United Kingdom now. Let's forget that. That's what.
Sorry, let me add this. When the Indian Prime Minister came to the UK, I told you he left with $120 billion this is trade deal, and he left with quantum technology, AI, 6G internet research that they are going to work with the UK with. Then they are going to build their jet fighters in India. They announce it openly. This is not when you talk about the press protocols. Generally, there are certain things they announce. There are more secret things that they keep behind. But clearly, the ones that they announced.
India went there with 4.5 GDP. What do you carry go there?
See, the scale we're talking about. Hold on, we are talking about 100 and something times. Hold on now, calm down.
The economy is bigger than that of the UK.
Let me tell you now, is India's economy 100 times bigger than that of Nigeria?
No, they have upper hand in negotiation. Their economy is bigger. What are you negotiating with?
You can negotiate with even the future. We know how to borrow money for the future. You can tell them that. Hold on, I told you this yesterday. I told you that you can negotiate with the future. You can say, okay, we have to upgrade our relationship. Instead of us to be doing $8 billion business, we should be doing $20-30 billion. And these are the preferences I'm going to give you within my country and all the rest of it. You can go dig deeper with the future. But we don't have that imagination.
Nobody will give you more than what you deserve. Nobody will give you more than what you deserve.
They bring the thing, they devalue, they make the thing
they
look
want to make money too.
Like that,
no, I just want to know what you are the bargain with. What are you offering? For a nuclear weapon, what are you
we are also a market.
Who says you want nuclear weapon on the get-go? They're not going to give you
out of that 200 million people, how many of them can afford to buy things from UK?
Wow.
We are talking about economy.
Yeah, there's no need to argue with you.
Let's go into the details now. Talking
all right,
about
thank
economy.
you. Thank you, guys. Let me just give a chance.
Don't be like that.
Let me give
See, let me tell you, if I'm to be commander-in-chief, let me go this kind of thing. Let me put it this way. I mean, you should be able. Look, that is the
what is your leverage?
That's for sure. He would do better. I think even this year would do better than Tinubu. That's for sure. Because he's not going to leave there until he gets up.
This is what I'm going. This is what I'm going to tender. I won't even. In fact, if they give me 5 minutes, I go use 10 minutes or 20 to finish them. At the end of the day, go say, look, because they won't even because they need something from you. Then you tender your own, and they will know.
Something they can take with force if you refuse. They can take it with force if you refuse. You cannot do anything.
Okay, guys, let's hear from other people before we go. KJ is ready at the other end in another 2 minutes. So, James, you want to say something? You know, these British people, they can dominate.
I have nothing to say.
I like that. I'm trying to give chance to the people in Gambia to say something. He just said it. There's nothing to say. Thank you, James. Tony.
Yeah, I'm done too. I made my point. Thank you.
Okay, Chim.
Is it on the UK visit?
Anything you want to say? We're rounding up. I'm about.
Well, all I would simply say, staying on topic in terms of what the discussion of the day was, is our people who are making agitations on how to move Nigeria forward. I don't have anything against them. I think they have very valid causes to pursue, but they need to sit down and see how they can educate people. Educating people better. What I find missing in some of the things going on is people are more emotive than taking time to go and educate people so that people can even understand. The layman, the guy in Onisha main market or the one in area market, does he really understand what's going on? Educate him better so that he knows where to stand, so that if at any point in time where these guys need to be called upon to either vote for the issue or that they know exactly what it is they're voting for, what they're pushing for. But if you ask me, a lot of people don't even understand. It's just, plain, oh, Biafra, Biafra, Biafra. The guy in Edo State, does he understand what exactly is at stake? Or if I go to Ikore land, do they understand what's at stake? Or it's just emotions? Until we're able to break away from that a little bit, we're just going to keep running around in circles. I don't know when we're going to keep. We've been agitating for a long time. So that's just my point.
Right. Okay, forefathers, final words.
Yes, I think we should just kind of advocate for justice for everyone in the country, no matter where you are from, and you are more likely to see nationalists emerge in that country. But I'm sure the term justice is a little bit abstract. But when you see something wrong going on, whether it's a northerner or a southeasterner or a southwesterner or a south, whoever it is, you should be fair. Try to be dispassionate as much as you can, because in actuality, you are doing yourself a favor. I studied what happened in Iraq, how the Kurds helped sabotage the Saddam government and how, helped Americans. The Kurds are doing better today, but the entire Iraqis are not, because they were not treated well when they were in Iraq. We don't want to be a tragic story like that. This is why when you have people in your country, they carry your passport, treat them well, all of them. Thank you.
All right, CM.
Well, mine is to say that every nation is a work in progress. So let me recap by saying that an opportunity to help fight insurgency or sort of reduce the level of insecurity in Nigeria by trying to maybe look outside Nigeria for whatever it is worth. Tinubu, as the commander-in-chief, let Nigeria down when he went to UK. There a way you should have put it to UK government. They should be able to know that, look, what they know, you also know it. Even if you fail, they may not give you what you want, but there's a way you put it. They will know that, look, this guy is aggressive. We had better sit up. But that opportunity was lost, and it's very, very shameful for a country like Nigeria, more than 200 million people. You are having a insecurity problem, and you are going outside the country, and you are being listened to. That is number one. In fact, the British media should be awash with Nigerian security problem and why their president has come, their head of the president has come to UK to seek bilateral collaboration on how to solve it. The nitty-gritty we may not know, but let it be a headline that this is particular one thing you want, so that whatever because Britain, they have interest in Nigeria for sure. So for you, you can even turn it around that whatever they want to gain is determined by the level of security that they can help you to restore to Nigeria. That's the way I'm not a diplomat, but at least I know a little what it means. And when you put this down, you can even say, okay, the next meeting will not be in Nigeria. Their high commissioner, their foreign secretary will fly in defense. Then you start making something. That alone will help to boost our business and then the economy. People will say, okay, something is being done. At least something should be done. but not in this, but not for with this type of lukewarm attitude. You came, you danced around, you say you took loan to go and rehabilitate seaport. Who would, for what does that mean? That is purely stomach infrastructure you came for. That is not. There's nothing about national outlook that you projected. Let me stop here. Thank you.
All right, thank you, CM. As a way of ending, let me just share this. I always have questions I don't get to ask the guests because we don't never have enough time. But this is a list of people that signed up for NINAS when they agreed on what to do. And if you go through this list, you can see Professor Banji Akintoye from the Western region, the Middle Belt of Nigeria, the Lower Niger, South, and every. If you go through this list, you'll be thinking, where are these people now? I tried to ask that question, but I didn't get a follow-up. You find out that, like every struggle in Nigeria, most Nigerians, people, they move according to the season. You don't find people, and that's what some people criticism they have on for Tony, which is that he's essentially that he's always talking about the same issue. But there are people who will start something, and if the situation doesn't favor them or favors them, they will change, as if it's not a problem. If you remember Nadeko, the struggle for independence, for the military to go, most of the issues they raised, they didn't follow through. In fact, most of them complained at the end that they made a mistake by not going to take power. They allowed normal politicians to take over power. So I wanted to narrow down and pin him down to tell us about that trend, that kind of tendency in Nigerians to pick an issue when something changes or they're induced, they move away from it. There are people today who are supporting this democracy the way it's working today because they're benefiting. The moment they don't benefit anymore, they go back to agitation. So there's that deficiency in consistency and reforming what you believe in. If it's not working today, if it's not resonating with people today, let's say you're talking about changing the constitution or whatever is your issue. We used to have a guy who talks about section 109. I don't know where that is now. But anyway, if you have an issue, you consistently stay on it if you think it's important.
Electricity and call up.
You don't
election call up.
You don't give up because it's hard. You don't change because someone has induced something, giving you something, and you think it's time to go and chop. And then when you stop chopping, you come back and say, okay, it's time to go back to the fight. So that's something that I see in Nigerians. Changes happen in societies, but it's not just guaranteed that it will happen in your own lifetime, even you that is leading that change. But what is required is you continue to build it, reform it until more people buy into that. All right, that's it from me today. Thank you, everybody. Let me thank those that supported us. AY, thank you for your support. Shoma, thank you so much. Kulata, thank you. George, Blue Shell, thank you so much. Kulata, Oscar Blackstone, thank you. And thank you, everybody who watched at home. We appreciate all of you. We will be back next week on 90 Minutes Africa, and we'll bring you another guest. I don't have anybody penciled down, but at any time, I'm talking to several people. Any of them that pans out at the end of the, towards the end of the week will be our guest for the week. Again, thank you, forefathers, for being here. Thank you, CM. Thank you, Chim. Thank you, Ovie. Thank you, Mr. James. Thank you, Tony. And thank you, those on the comment section. I read all your comments, actually all. I read all of them. Thank you, those who are watching at home. I appreciate all of you. Until next week. Remember, KJ is having a show. It's going to start now. So thank you, everybody.
tó fẹ́ kú torí ẹ̀ o. Ọwọ́ ẹni ló ti ṣàánú kọ́. Ayé la fi sílẹ̀ sí.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Have you subscribed? Yes, you. Have you subscribed? You. Yeah, before you go, click. It's free. Click. Just that's it. Have you subscribed? You are laughing. Have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, madam. Thank you so much. I can see you. I can see you. We have to get to 100,000 subscribers. By the end of the year, how are we going to do that if you don't subscribe? Yes, you. Yes, you're about to click off. Why? Have you subscribed? It's free. If you don't, ask your son, ask your daughter how to. Just one click. Thank you. Thank you. I see you. Aha. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow.
When your mazolo bio, akwa mazolo bio, Max, if you bunye go kwanu mo no fube nazo olaga ni piazugo, ulaga do ni piazugo, akwa mwilo chiyo bikora puzoro, kona bazia. Onyo mazoro biko abamba wazoro dosari ibya unyane gana mo ulaga dori biazigo mo ulaga dori biazigo abamba wilo chilo bigora buzoro ona wazia. Mazi welcome up. Odogu no queries nka. Onyo mani gadele mo. Mazi ni mazi kama. Ibu go with melody. Odogu na chala noka. Ezi wande mniga dele mo. Olaga doni pesigo noe. Mo olaga doni pesigo. Awama wilo chilo. Bigora mozoro. Anabaze. Te. Onyama zoro de. Mama wazara nesari ibya muyana kwana mo ofube nare mulaga doni biazigo nazaboy mulaga doni biazigo abamba wilo chilo bikora puzoro anabazi aiz odogu kenenu bikechofo ama kwa mnika kugogia waligwe kwelo ikejo mabele bege hey you want eku kampune kene ama gondinso Chukwu negaji esi nwanne m ekene ila polife eme wee bịa nke gosili na anyị na gị bụ nwanne wisdom ga-adị ka nye gị maịkị ka ogobanya bụ egwu isili mmaksi ọ bụ na-etiri egwu a malụkwa malụ n'imego m ife ọjọọ wee sị gị nwanne m ife ọkụ na ịchọlụ na ngeme wisdom onume ekene gị gbamanwe iyo iyo biko lapụ nabasị zoro 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 Geduru joy na bugwa Hausa Sokoto Ujembe nwilo Anụ solo nwe nwe ma n'ọfịa n'ara